Yo, what's going on, everybody? Um, Amazing fights last night. Amazing fucking fights. And like I said, Venado was going to ruin my month. Um, Joet Gonzalez fought exactly like how he fought Emmanuel Navarrete, right? He blocks a bunch of punches, but doesn't take a step back. He doesn't take a tactical retreat to reset. And he allowed Venado, like Emmanuel Navarrete, to pop off 10 punch combinations. Now, Joet blocked, let's say, 7 out of those 10 punches or those blitzes or that, you know, outrage of shots that Venado throws. But those three that sip through the cracks, either to the body, either to the face, or uppercuts, you can't block them all, bro. Like, you have to learn. And Joet Gonzalez did not learn from the Emmanuel Navarrete situation in that fight. This was a close fight, but make no mistake about it, Venado won. I was betting for Joet to win by decision, but he didn't win by decision, man. Venado defended his throne, defended his belt, great. And Joet rose to the occasion as a challenger, but like he does multiple times, he comes up short, right? Like Lomachenko, when he gets his opportunities to be undisputed, he comes up short. Same thing with Joet. Venado did his thing, man. Obviously, I was a little biased going into it, so maybe I had the fight a little closer than what the judges had it. But I can see how people thought that Venado dominated because it's very difficult, right, to let a man get 10 punches off on you, and then a lot of them are cracking through, right? You're starting to see the redness, the swelling of the eye, the closing of the eye on Joet's face. So it's very difficult to say, oh, nah, man, he won that fight, because body language alone doesn't really dictate that, right? And a lot of the time when Joet would land flush on Venado, Venado would do what Canelo does, roll the punches and roll his face. So it minimizes the impact. Also, I noticed that Venado fought much more disciplined. We did a little film review the other day on Thursday against Josh Warrington, and he showed under this new trainer or the same trainer, he's starting to tighten up his defense. He's starting to be much more calm and relaxed and not as erratic. Sure, he'll still deer hop from side to side, up and down, and then he'll crouch down and then throw a 6 and a 3 and then that's how he'll blitz when he lunges. But in terms of his defense, his chin wasn't all up in the air like it was against Josh Warrington. So he's showing improvements, right? He's actually starting to box a little more and popping a very nice jab. And I didn't think that he was going to be able to make his improvements, because up to this date, he hasn't shown that. He finally did. And Joet Gonzalez didn't make his adjustments, and he fought exactly the same like Navarrete, and he had to be better. He had to be better. Yo, what's going on, Drew? Mic check, mic check. Yo, brother, you there? Your mic's muted. But yeah, man, it was a very good main event. And then also, I just want to let you guys know. He said something on the private chat. Hold up, I need to get a chair for sure, bro. Sounds good. No worries. On the zone, Angel Fierro versus another Mexican. I don't remember his last name, but he was a southpaw, right? 13 wins and 1 loss. Amazing fucking fight. Amazing. I can't stress enough how
Which
great.
fight?
Yo, what's going on, Drew?
What's up, man?
How you been, bro? What you think of the fights last night? And yeah, man, what's going on with you?
Good, man. I'm highly pissed about some outcomes, but that was due to some bets that I made, and I should have kept the light, but the fights that I actually watched on the ESPN card were really good. I mean, they were meant for like a hardcore, to watch, because I mean,
Absolutely.
most people would think it was they were like boring fights, but to me, I seen nothing but skills being displayed throughout the whole night, and I was like, damn, these are all good fights. I needed to like take a little break, but I didn't watch the John Rincon fight, but I wanted to watch the Omar Aguilar fight, and I was watching it. and I kind of caught the later ends of the later rounds of the fight, and I was like, damn, this guy's fucking losing. And he ends up losing the fight, dude, to this guy named Julio Avila or something like that. Avila or something like that. I gotta look at his name, but he lost last night, and I was like, damn, man. I guess this guy is like not a hype job, but not who we think he is, you know. So a lot of
So
talent
just
got
to clarify a little bit, the guy that you betted, he lost.
yes, that was on another card. That was on
Oh,
another
that's
card.
a Showtime card.
Yeah, that was a Showtime card.
Oh,
Friedis Rojas Jr. Man, I heard about this guy in the amateurs. Like I remember seeing him at a national tournament, and he was just beating everyone up, bro. Like this guy was extremely fast, and I mean, he still is right now. But he's 6'2", fighting in the welterweight division, 147, and this guy's 11-0, 11 knockouts. And I was thinking, man, this guy's gonna knock him out, you know. And I'm looking at this guy named Bustos, and I'm like, man, this guy really hasn't found anyone, you know. He's
yeah.
found some undefeated talent, but those undefeated talents that he beat, those wins were didn't age well. They ended up not winning a lot after their fights. But
Damn.
I was thinking like this guy's never found anyone like nobody like Rojas, you know, and then this guy ends up going the decision. But anyways, it was a parlay. The parlay was set up like this. So I was pretty hyped about the fights on ESPN because of this, but I bet on the first two fights of the ESPN undercard, Delonte Johnson to go the distance. He ends up going the distance. It did look a bit scary sometimes. It looked like he was about to put him out, but he ended up going the decision. And then I put another bet, or that same parlay was Ruben Villa going the distance against Brandon Valdez, and that one was even nerve wracking as well because I was like, there was a lot of moments where I felt like Ruben could have put him away, and they were exchanging like a motherfucker, which is why I was telling you, I was like, dude, this is a really entertaining fight. I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
this is
for sure.
either going back and forth, and then I was nervous, but luckily it was just an 8 rounder. I think if it was like a 10 rounder or a 12 rounder, I think Ruben could have put him away. But yeah, he ends up going the distance with him, winning by unanimous. So I end up winning that, and then it was a 4-leg parlay. The next one was the third leg was Sky Nicholson to go the distance, and I got that as well. So I'm 3 out of 4 right now, right? I'm waiting for the Rojas fight to start, and I'm like struggling to find the fight. You know, I'm like, bro, like it's not on YouTube. It's ridiculous. You need to watch it on Paramount or something like that. And I'm like, bro, man, it's too late now. Just I'm waiting for the results, and I'm looking on Twitter because that's really the best way you can get like live any type of live updates. Someone will tweet about them, and and I'm seeing a tweet saying because it was an 8 rounder. I'm seeing a tweet saying this guy's in the 7th round, and my heart broke, bro. I was like, no,
Oh,
no one's ever made it. No one's ever made it past like this far, you know, in a fight, you know. And I was like, fuck, man. So I was waiting for the news, but I was just kind of like, what? I need to put away my phone before I'm like, damn. That 4-leg parlay was gonna pay me out a grand,
yeah.
1,050, and I put 300 down. So when I'm winning the Sky Nicholson fight, or I'm watching the Sky Nicholson fight, and that one's like crazy, bro, because I'm like, dude, this Sky Nicholson is gonna get her first knockout. You know, it's crazy. That fight ended up looking scary because for some reason her family on the corner was crying, and she didn't even get to like shake Sky Nicholson's hand after the fight. Like, I think she went straight to the hospital or something like that. So it didn't look pretty
Oh
towards the
wow.
end. Like, she didn't. Like her face didn't look normal. Like it looked like not saying it was all blistery or anything. She was swollen around the eye, but her eye was really purple. You know, it wasn't like red. Like it was really purple. And I'm like,
And this is
it
Sky
looked like,
Nicholson's face.
huh?
This is Sky Nicholson's face.
No, her opponent.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, the one that's defending her belt. And I'm looking at her and I'm like, "Ah, she looks like purple, like it looks like internal bleeding, you know, and around the neck because they call it raccoon eyes when you got a skull fracture,
Yeah,
and
yeah, absolutely.
she kind of had that, and it didn't look good, and I was like, oh shit. So I'm not sure what happened to that, but hopefully she's good, I know protocol they automatically just go to the hospital, just for like, protocol, and they got to do their check their vitals and all that, whatever. But yeah, man, I was watching that. Looked scary, but got the decision. Looked at Rojas, and I'm like, fuck, man. And I remember just taking away his that risk and looking at the payout, and it was 100 and plus 100 plus 150. So I would have just made like 450. So I got greedy. I got greedy, and fuck, man, they were really good fights. Though a lot of great talent got exposed. Like I was saying, we found out Rojas isn't who we thought he is. He's a great boxer, but it looks like he's human. It looks like he can fight though. I heard he was sparring people like Terrence Crawford and Carlos Adames. So this guy can, that's what made me a believer in him. But I still am. It doesn't
Yeah,
mean that it doesn't mean that he's a bad fighter. It's just that he's finally fighting people in his opposition. So, his opposition finally starting to catch up to him. So
got
um,
you.
it serves for great fights. But a lot of people got exposed last night, like Jermaine Ortiz.
Yeah,
Um, Jermaine Ortiz got exposed last night, and it's
he looked
like,
fucking horrible.
yeah, bro. So,
Like
and I
now
was
I
also,
know why
mhm,
he's willing to cut all that like 30 pounds
mhm,
and dehydrate himself and look like a skeleton because A, he's chinny. B,
mhm,
he can't take a punch to the face or to the fucking body. And
mhm.
then C, his skills aren't that good, bro. Like yesterday,
Yeah.
that dude is a dirty fucking fighter.
Mhm.
Dirty fighter. Like his boxing skills, bro.
I think what
He
it
ain't
is
got no boxing skills, bro. Like all that shit, a lot of those
I think
punches.
no, I think what it is that his IQ lacks. He lacks IQ. Like
Hell yeah.
he doesn't think when he's fighting. He's just because he obviously knows how to turn his punches. He obviously knows how to throw a correct hook with his, but it just doesn't know, like he doesn't know how to like put it all together and make his opponent think. Like he doesn't think while he's in there. He thinks it's sparring or something, you know?
Yeah.
Um, so he got exposed. You really did get exposed, and you've been on that side. You've been saying he's not that good of a boxer.
Yeah,
I remember
man.
that. So now I see that. I see that now, and yeah, man. You know who else got exposed was Omar Aguilar. Omar
Yeah.
Aguilar got exposed, and I was like, "Fuck, man."
Yeah, that's another fighter. So yesterday I did a couple of bets too.
Mm,
Um, Nothing too crazy in terms of a parlay, though I did have other parlays, like 15 bucks or whatever, but it all was predicated on Joet Gonzalez. But
mm,
we'll get to that fight in a bit. But yeah, I did I bet like 80 bucks on Joet Gonzalez to win by decision, right? So that would have, paid out like plus 600 had he won by decision. And
mm,
then so I had 20 bucks remaining on the account, and I put 20 bucks on the guy to go that beat Omar Aguilar, Luna.
mm.
And I did a live bet, and the live bet
Yes.
was basically 20 bucks, and at the time was like plus 500 because they had Aguilar winning so much.
Mm.
I was like,
What website?
Bovada. And
What?
then so I was like, all right, you know what? I'll go Luna, bro. I like what I'm seeing. I think this is like in round two. So they
Mm-hmm.
still had Aguilar winning, but I was like, all right, let me put a little bit on here. And Luna was doing his thing, bro. To your
Mm-hmm.
point with Aguilar, man, he needs to know and pick his spots. I just feel like he didn't learn from the Lindolfo Delgado fight, who's training a
Mm-mm.
hard CPA, and
Mm-hmm.
all he wants to throw is head punches, bro.
Yeah.
All he's doing is targeting the head, and it's like, bro, break the body down, right?
Mm-hmm.
Break the body down. Luna has an extremely long arms, and he has a really long jab. So, like, there's the other aspect that like Aguilar doesn't know how to defend himself or take away a jab. So I know he's young. I think he's like 22 years old, 20 years old with like over 20 fights. But I'm like, damn, bro, like you need IQ. You need how to learn defense because you have
Mhm.
grit, you have a chin, you have stamina, and you can throw a lot of punches. But
Just
it's
doesn't think.
yeah, he doesn't think. You know what I'm saying? It was kind of like Andy Ruiz when he was fighting Chris Arreola, right?
Mhm.
All he wanted to throw was like 1, 2, 3, like one, two,
Yeah.
three to the face, and it's like, bro, dig to the body, throw a double left hook to the body, and come
Mhm.
upstairs, throw a three to the body, and then pop a
Yeah.
six. You know,
No setups.
yeah, like he didn't, and then he don't know how to touch his opponents to like
Mhm.
touch here, and then boom, boom,
Yeah.
touch, open, open, boom, boom. It's just all the same tone and rhythm, and I'm
And
just Aguilar, bro, what the fuck is you doing?
sorry to
Um,
barge in. Sorry to barge in, but Delonte Johnson's coach yesterday. Did you hear him in the corner? He was like, and threw the ball, 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 ball. It was fucking funny, bro.
oh yeah,
And
no, because you know when you hit the bags and you hit the mitts,
it's just
you know
like
you
that.
have different impact when you hit. So it's like a jab, it's like
Mhm.
boom, and then you
Yeah.
throw your through, and it's like
Yeah.
boom, boom, boom. Like you just kind of know, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's the
That little
breathing.
like ad hominem noise, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that onomatopoeia shit, like kapow, you know.
Yeah.
You,
Yeah.
you you fucking know what's gonna follow it up. But yeah, man, I just feel like Omar Aguilar hasn't learned from Del Delgado, and neither has Joet Gonzalez. I was like, bro,
Mhm.
you guys have been in this moment before, right? Luna
Mhm.
is like Lindolfo Delgado. He's got a long jab. He's good defensively, but if you put your pieces together, your punches correctly, and you know you throw a two downstairs and then come back with a three, it like there's ways to break down a certain fighter. And I was just like, damn, Aguilar, you're gonna get beat. And I thought the judges were gonna give it to Aguilar, but I was happy that they gave it to Luna because I thought Luna won. It was
Mm.
very close as well because Luna has to also understand body language, bro. It's like
Mm.
push Aguilar back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Off body language alone, you're giving this guy Aguilar way too much
He
confidence
was
as he's
cautious.
knocking
He
you
was.
down. Yeah, man, and it just doesn't look good. Like, let's say you land a jab, jab, and a two, but you know he throws a jab in between, and your head snaps back, and you're getting pushed back, even though you just
Mhm.
landed 3 punches. That jab that he threw that snapped your head back gives the impression like, oh man, yours aren't quality punches and they're just
Mhm.
quantity, and this dude just snapped your shit back. So I'm just kind of like, bro, you're letting this dude steal rounds when you
Yeah.
dominated the whole fucking 3 minutes of the fight, but just not 10 seconds of it.
Well,
Um,
there's a reason why he was undefeated and had like 100% knockout ratio, and I think he was wary about that. You
who
know.
Aguilar?
Yeah. No. Luna.
Oh yeah, no, Luna. I think he had like, let's say like 24 wins or so, and he had one
Mhm.
loss. And this one loss is against a southpaw, an undefeated Mexican. Right, it's like 34-0. Might be another Robert Garcia fighter,
Mm.
but I thought that fight was really close. It was kind of like yesterday's fight with Omar Aguilar and Luna. But yeah, man. Earlier you said something like, this is a diehard, hardcore boxing fan fights, and they were a little boring. The only
They
fight that
were.
was boring on the ESPN, bro, was John Rincon.
No, they were all good. They were
The,
all good.
he
I
was
was
the
just saying.
only one that was boring. Everything else, bro, with Tiger Johnson, Tiger had
Yeah.
met with some resistance against the Mexican guy. Like they all showed up on Mexican Independence Day, bro.
Mhm.
Ruben Villa versus Brandon Valdez. Look, bro, I'm glad that Ruben won. I'm happy for my homie, but if I'm him, I don't fight Venado next, bro.
Why not?
Dude, he's gonna beat Ruben, bro. Ruben, he needs to go through the Robeisy Ramirez route, bro.
Oh my.
Because if he fights Venado, what I saw, Venado is improving. And because see, we did a film study the other night, right? And I was comparing Venado Lopez's fight versus Josh Warrington, and those flaws that I said that Venado had, he fucking correct them against Joet Gonzalez, bro. And Joet Gonzalez, when I was showing the Navarrete fight, I said in one of the statements, I was like, bro, you can't just stand there and block 10 punches when the guy's throwing 20. You can't let a person get off 20 punches off you because 7 of them are going to land. Or if he throws 10 and you block 7, 3 of them are going to land. And when they do, it's hard. Joet doesn't know how to take a back step. Like when you watched Venado yesterday, when he found pressure, he either clinched, right? Or to diffuse the situation and reset, or he fucking bounced out of there and like had an urgency to evade Joet's punches, and Joet does not have the same urgency. He just presses forward, and I'm just like, motherfucker, bro, you did not learn from the Navarrete fight. It's like, I don't know, bro. Maybe he likes
I
to taste the
disagree.
pepper. He stays
I
low, block punches, in his inability to land shots. But I'm just like, bro, just take a half step back or an angle here, or pivot to the side, roll
Ruben.
under. No, not Ruben. Joet Gonzalez, and I was just
Oh,
like,
okay, yeah,
damn.
yeah.
Now,
Mhm.
where Ruben on the Valdez fight, yes, Ruben did win, right? Let's say that I thought the other guy won like 3 rounds and Ruben won 5. I thought it was
Mhm.
very close. Um, and Ruben, one of the things that I didn't like, well, it goes like this. Ruben is not like he's not a heavy hitter, right? He does have pop in his punches to keep you honest, right? But Ruben's strength is going to rely on his footwork, on his
Mhm.
defense, and is also going to rely on his combination punching. Okay. And if you watched yesterday when Ruben, all right, Ruben will pot shot you with a jab. Boom. Step back, slick, boom. Jab here, roll here, jab. That's what he'll do. But Ruben's strength is in the combination punching. That's how he's gonna hurt you. That's how he's gonna knock you down. That's usually how he's
Mhm.
gonna fucking rock you, right?
Mhm.
But what he needs to do, and this is a history of Max Garcia boxers, right? When he had Tino Avila, when he had Eloy Perez, when he had Paul Mendez El Gallo Negro, when he had all these fighters that they've gone to that moment, right? They're all good defensively. Tino Avila was defensive, right? But when he fought Jojo Diaz, ¿qué le faltaba, bro? Tino Avila did not know how to hit hard, right? And Jojo exposed that with a high guard. Paul Mendes, he fought on ESPN and he fought against a hard ass Russian dude, bro. And to whatever good punch Paul Mendes landed, the Russian dude would land 4 punches. So it was like a 4-to-1 ratio. And I think they stopped it at a certain point. Maybe
Mhm.
I'm too sure. But Paul Mendes was big, bro. He's like a 168 pounder, 160 pounder. I don't know. He was huge. And then Eloy Perez, when he fought Adrian Broner, right? When he fought Adrian Broner on HBO, right? When they were both like 20 years old, Eloy Perez had the defense, had the hand speed, he had the IQ. Like that's one thing about Max Garcia fighters. They all have the IQ, but he doesn't develop a heavy hitter, bro. And
Mhm.
that's the downfall with Ruben is when he gets into Venado, Venado's gonna throw his shots, but he's
I
correcting
think
his flaws, and I think he'll fucking put down Ruben like Navarrete did, bro.
I think what I'm seeing improvement in Ruben as well though. I'm seeing better
In what aspect?
combinations. I'm seeing more of a urgency in him actually. He did start kind of slow on this fight though, but he did maintain like dude, Valdez took his punches very well. And
Yeah.
I'm not saying and I'm thinking he's got a great chin, bro. I think Valdez got a great chin. I know Robeson got the KO on him, but did you even see that? Like he didn't even really knock him out. It was just kind of it was an early stoppage,
Yeah, the
you
ref
know.
stopped it because Robeson threw like 30 punches and then the other guy was just not answering. It was early because the guy didn't wobble, the guy didn't
Yeah.
fucking, take a knee or
So
he
he's got a
wasn't
chin.
down previously. But it was just like, all right, bro, if you're blocking good, but you gotta protect yourself a little more, and he just wasn't. But yeah, I thought it was a little early stoppage.
Yeah.
And then he gave Robeson a good little fight too, like he gave Ruben. But here's another thing. Look at how Ruben with the punches that he was getting hit with, right? There were the same uppercuts because Ruben has a shoulder roll off the southpaw stance, right? He fights a shoulder roll, so his lead hand is very low. It's not he doesn't bring his lead hand back to his face, right? And then he'll use the shoulder roll to slip like a jab and retreat, or he'll catch it with his two, boom, boom, and parry the punches, right? That's how you'll catch. And then he's got good hip movement and then lateral movement. But Valdez was hitting him with some uppercuts, the same uppercut that Navarrete put him down with, right? Venado throws that same fucking punch as well. So I'm just like, man, bro, like when I watched Venado back on like a couple years back with Ruben on Showtime, right? Showtime After Dark or Showbox, it was a close, tough fight. Ruben did win it because at that time Venado was very wild with his defense and he kept his chin up in the air. But now he's starting to correct that, bro. At least he did it against Joet Gonzalez more so than he did with Josh Warrington. And that was just basically a fight away because that was Josh Warrington, Mick Conlon, and then Joet Gonzalez. So I didn't think he was able to correct it and go back to his old tendencies when he gets tired. But the reality was, bro, he did correct it. And Joet did not learn from Navarrete and he fucking took the W, bro.
Yeah, Joet doesn't have that footwork that Ruben got, you know. So he was there to get hit, and
Yeah.
it was just frustrating to watch though because Joet could have done a lot better. Like, he
Yeah.
could have won the fight. He could have won the fight, and that's what I'm
I
saying.
agree.
I think Ruben got that extra gear to actually make the corrections to beat someone like him.
I hope so. Yeah, man. I hope so, but when they first fought, Venado was very exploitable, right? He was very flawed, and now he's starting to correct it.
When
And
did he
right
switch
now,
trainers?
I'm not too sure because, like I was saying, the on the live, he trains with this guy. You can find him on YouTube. His name he goes by Flaming Hot Mitts. His name is
Yeah.
like something like Chris Guevara. He's fucking dope, bro. Good ass trainer, and he trained like Luis Neri and Venado Lopez and Julio Chavez Jr. Right? Good trainer, and he breaks down certain situations and why, and he's got great drills. And I don't know when he made that switch to these fighters in this stable that he has now. I don't know, but it must be probably around like when he's going on that winning streak. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
At
Yeah.
least I want to say because yeah,
He's a
bro,
Team USA coach.
yeah. Yeah. That's what Speed was saying last night. I forgot what his name is, but yeah, dude. And it's starting to show. He's starting to be much more polished. He's starting to stay low rather than pop his head up and drop his hands. Now everything's getting like
I don't like how he
Yeah, go
I don't
ahead.
like how he drops his head down though. Like he drops his head down with his hands low, and he's just really low, and like he like that's his defense now. He wants to get inside you and shove his head in there and just look up at you like that. And it's like I think Ruben knows how to capitalize on that. And
I,
that's
I,
something
I
that
hope so, bro, because that might be the next road of the path. But I'm gonna need to see a little more from Ruben, man, because like again,
what
like I said, since they fought, right, and since COVID, when Ruben took his first L, he's been relatively inactive, almost like most
Mhm,
PBC fighters inactive. And he only had yesterday was his third fight in 3 years, and Venado has probably had like 9 fights in 3 years.
mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like Venalo's been fighting like 2 or 3 times at least. So I don't know, bro. It's gonna be very close, but yeah, bro. I mean, I'm not gonna. It's not like I'm gonna go against Ruben, nah, bro. That's the homie. So I'm gonna be rooting for him and
What are his
everything, but it's gonna be a very tough fight, and
what are his chances of getting that fight next? You think?
it depends if Robbie Ramirez and Venado Lopez look to unify first, right?
Uh,
Because if they look to unify, this was probably like Venado's mandatory Joet Gonzalez, so he probably doesn't have to fight Ruben next. I'm not exactly too sure, so you can probably either have a voluntary or look to
mhm,
unify with the winner of Josh Warrington or Lee Wood, who he's already
mhm.
had a victory over, or he can unify with Robbie Ramirez, especially Robbie just came off a victory as well not too long ago. I don't know if it was Abraham Nova or it was a Japanese fighter in the Naoya Inoue card. I'm not too sure what the order of operation, what came first, but yeah, man. I think if I'm Venaldo, I'm looking to unify, and then but if he wants like, nah, I want to get Ruben Villa, I want to avenge one of my losses, then it's gonna be down to his pride. But I don't know. I don't know if Ruben has the not the audacity, but the standing to demand a mandatory and enforce that position next.
Mhm.
In terms of having pull. Usually that comes with like paying fees and shit. But we'll see,
Mhm.
bro. I don't really
Yeah.
know how to answer. It just kind of depends what the next trajectory of path, that Bob Arum and Top Rank have from. Yo, what's going on? Speed, unmute yourself, brother.
What is going on, gentlemen? Thank you very much for the invite once again, and good evening or early afternoon to all of our beloved listeners and anybody who partakes in listening to other strangers talk all things boxing. I hope you guys enjoyed yourself, and from what I can muster, I believe you gentlemen did. You guys are hopping from one fight to the next that breakneck speed, and that just indicates to me that you guys are completely excited about all the events, the fights, and the conclusions. And to tell you the honest truth, I myself am also excited. In fact, when I reached out to the homie Ricky to see if we should go live, I actually approached him like around 11 o'clock at night, Pacific Coast time. So that's like around 2 o'clock in the morning Eastern, and who knows what time? Maybe 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning UK time. I told him let's go live because my heart was just pacing. agitatedly. My mind was just running around thinking about everything that I just witnessed. In fact, I was completely overwhelmed. I told him we should title an overwhelming weekend because there was so much boxing yesterday and so much of it lived up to the hype that I was actually channel surfing. I was hopping from one television to one device to another device, trying to catch the Showtime fights, which were not heavily promoted at all. The top ranked fights, which were absolutely incredible, with the exception of perhaps one. The Golden Boy fights, which were absolutely incredible, and we didn't even talk too much about those. And in fact, the gentleman's image, who's right there bearing my name of Warp Speed, his name is Angel Fierro. He fought in Mexico on the zone top rank card, where Erica Cruz was fighting Melissa Odessa from New York, transplanted to the large and great state of Texas. She went down south to fight in Tijuana, Mexico, against Erica Cruz, the former champion who lost the belt to none other than one of the greatest women fighters of all time, Amanda Serrano, a definite shoe-in Hall of Famer who's held belts in like 6 or 7 divisions. And she's only lost to the great Katie Taylor and
She
and
didn't lose to
maybe that's
Taylor. She beat Katie Taylor.
not on the books, buddy. And I
Uh,
disagree. I thought it was a fight that that was hard fought.
one of those rounds, she threw over 150 punches, landed like 40 of them. Should have been a 10-8, bro. She was out and about.
Okay, we go back right, and I disagree with you. I could see it a draw, but anybody could have won. I don't. If you say that Amanda Serrano won, I wouldn't hold that against you. But I also think Katie Taylor uh, did a lot of very good stuff in there. And she, as a champion, shouldn't. Well, I think both of them were no. Katie Taylor, maybe both of them were champions. Nonetheless, it was a great matchup and a great event. But Erica Cruz, who just came back from fighting Amanda Serrano in a fight of the year contender for last year, right? Or this year, actually, this year. She fought Amanda Serrano. She fought a very great stylistic fighter and Melissa Odessa as the co-main event to the fight between Angel Fierro and Brian Samaripa, which I will tell you right now, we did not talk about these guys on the live before. We mentioned that they were going to fight, and we did say that it was going to be a back and forth kind of event where you had to really choose between one network and the next. But I tell you one thing: if you guys just watch top rank events without channel surfing to the zone cards, you really missed out on a fight of the year contender, right up there with uh, Serrano versus Erica Cruz, right up there with Deremchenko versus Munguia, over there with Neri versus Dunian or whatever his name was. It really was an incredible event. So it was just so much boxing, so much quality. Everybody brought it. And for the Honduran, Guatemalan, Salvadorian, Costa Rican, and Nicaraguan Independence Day. Because that was not the Mexico Independence Day, guys. I'm trying to correct you guys on that. Those 5 countries celebrated independence when Guatemala created
Don't
a
try to teach me
coalition.
about my history, bro.
Well, I'm correcting you guys because these are very important things. We don't know what our listeners are, what nationality they come from, but we should just correct those little things, right? These 5 countries banded together to form a coalition. They were called the Guatemala Alliance or something like that, where Guatemala delegates reached out to them hundreds of years ago to try to become independent and sovereign from the foreign reign of the Spaniards. Now, the Spaniards did not really put up too much of an affront, I believe, because their intentions really weren't too much to hold on to those countries so much. It was mostly Mexico, and those places that they really wanted to get a hold of, which their reign with Mexico continued for a little longer. Then Mexico became, at some juncture in history, independent of Spanish and British rule in in today's date, September the 16th. So I just wanted to correct that. But now tonight on the zone, and in case you missed it, there was fights at 5 o'clock in the morning taking place in the in somewhere in Europe, and
Today?
yes, in the zone there was boxing, and
What?
there's actually MMA on the zone, if I'm not mistaken, like right now. And in a few hours, we're gonna have another, if I'm not mistaken, Golden Boy event with William Camarón Cepeda taking on the one of the most beloved underdogs that I can think of him taking on right now, which is
Hey, when
our
does
great.
your son fight on Williams Zepeda's undercard so I can tune in?
What is it?
When does your son fight on Williams Zepeda's undercard so I can tune in?
So they haven't released the order of fights, but he was gonna fight a southpaw by the name of Gio, who's a national fighter. Mind you, my son only has 6 fights under his belt. This guy has closer to 70, but they have some sparring experience. In fact, my son learned to fight adequately against southpaws, taking on this national fighter. This national fighter used to put on the hands on my son, obviously, because he was very inexperienced when they first started about a year and a half ago. My son quickly caught up to him and started putting hands on him. So we do know that my son has the potential, but it seems that one of his stablemates, uh, he ended up taking him. So we're not too sure if my son's gonna fight, and if so, against whom. But that's these things happen. Sometimes the fighters see the physique or the names of certain fighters, and they go, "I've heard of this guy. This guy's probably not the one for you," or so forth and so on. We're not too sure why they decided to give it to a stablemate Alex, but nonetheless, it's going to be a good event of boxing and the Central Coast city of Greenfield, California. The gentlemen, it was an incredible night of boxing yesterday. I'm very happy and proud of what Emiliano Vargas was able to, how he was able to fight.
El
Xander
General.
Sayas, yeah, Xander Sayas was incredible.
That's my
Uh,
cousin.
Mi tío.
tu tío, yeah, tu tío, yeah. Ruben Villa showed me a lot of improvement. I really liked how he kept getting
Yep.
better and better as the fight progressed.
He's
He
getting better.
started to, yeah, he started to implement more footwork, more forward aggression. He was
Mhm.
always in the pocket. He was creative with his punches. Yeah, he had a couple of defensive flaws that caught him with a couple of uppercuts, but nothing too damaging and nothing that definitely affected his approach. So I think he decided to say, "Hey, I can take your punch, but can you take my skill set?" And that was very brave of him. He had a very scrappy, very tough, very good fighter out there with a chin and heart and enough skill set to take on Southpaw, the caliber of Ruben Villa, the fourth. There was just so much good stuff yesterday, guys. Tiger Johnson, he had a good fight. He did good. He just eked out a win, in my opinion. They were tested hard. They were
Mhm.
tested hard, and we cannot ask for a better weekend for no extra price like the ones that Top Rank and the Zone put up for us yesterday.
Yeah,
God,
shout out to the matchmakers yesterday.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, they did their thing. I was gonna say about Ruben. Ruben's pretty much doing what he's been doing, but at a higher level. And I think he's actually getting more sparring is the thing. And he's actually going to top rank. And there's a lot of people talking about Ruben Villa now in the top rank gym. So that means he's actually, giving people work. And his his amateur pedigree is actually starting to show now. So this guy's actually, I think that's what it is, and it's keeping his mind more live, I guess. Like he's he just reacts better. He's getting when he was in the Thompson promotions, I mean, you've seen this type of display, but I mean, I just felt like he would always struggle against, a certain opposition. I mean, it's still the same way right now. He's not really struggling, but he's still getting hit with shit. He's still getting popped. Because yesterday, I mean, he needed a chin. He needed a good chin yesterday to do what he did against Valdez.
Yeah,
that motherfucker brought it, bro.
Yeah, he came with some shit, man, and they got to bring that guy back. That dude Valdez can beat someone. He can beat someone that's lacking. Yeah, I liked what Brandon did to or was able to do with Ruben. He actually brought out the best in Ruben. I mean, yeah, I just see it now. I see it. I can see him closing the distance against Venado this time, bro. Just because he's so awkward. He's so awkward, bro. Like he just the way he throws his hooks is just incorrect, man. And I need to go back. I need to go back and watch the Ruben versus Venado fight. But man, I see why Ruben was able to win, because this guy's just defensively irresponsible, and he just I think Ruben is the type to really take advantage of that and take the rounds in for 12 rounds too, man. I think he can do it. Yeah,
I don't know.
It's his angles. Like I seen Joet. Joet was there to get hit, but man, did he land some shit on Venado. And I just felt like he didn't use angles at all. On top of that,
No, he didn't.
He was still hitting with some shit without like pivoting or doing with just standing in front of him. And I'm thinking, imagine what Ruben can do with his angles. Shit. I think Valdez will give Venado a hard time.
No, I don't think so, bro. I think you're.
I knew you were gonna say it. You're wrong.
You're wrong, bro. This is the reason why, bro. I want to say what you're saying,
but it's a fantasy fight. Why are we talking about it?
You know what I mean?
Wait. What's a fantasy
very
fight?
realistic.
It's a fantasy fight.
What is?
It's a fantasy fight. So why are you dipping into it?
Wait. Who's a fantasy fight?
Oh my God.
Ruben Villa versus Venado rematch.
No.
Wait. Why is that a fantasy fight?
It's not a fantasy fight. I said Valdez, Venado.
Valdez.
Oh yeah, nah, bro. Venado will knock him out, bro.
Yeah, that's why you were saying no, you're wrong, and I was like, nah.
No, even in the Ruben, even in the Ruben situation, bro. Ruben didn't show a lot of angles last night, bro.
He did in the last round, which I thought it was a spectacular round. I thought this 8th round was probably his best round.
And he, usually Ruben will do the little side angle, Lomachenko, pivot to your right side and then turn and then throw those combinations, chopping right hand. He didn't really do that against Valdez. In fact, yesterday, what he did was just basically stayed in the pocket, right? That's all he did was he stayed in the pocket, which was really good, and stayed in the pocket. But the only problem was the shoulder roll, right? Again, Ruben has that shoulder roll that he does as a lefty, and that punch that Valdez was throwing, that little sneaky left uppercut, was landing on Ruben.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got to correct that because, like we spoke earlier, Drew, Navarrete landed that when he dropped. Ruben the first time in the 4th round, I believe, on the 2nd round, it was that left uppercut that kind of sneaks in because what happens is Ruben blinds himself. Again, this is what I mean. You can try it right now. You have a shoulder roll off the southpaw stance. When Ruben throws a jab, he doesn't bring it to his face. When Ruben throws a jab, he brings it to his body, right? So you can have the Philly show. But as you're throwing the jab and you drop it, and the fighter punches with you or just punches a little right after, you're blinded by your own lead hand. And your own lead hand is blocking the uppercut shot from you to react. And then once you bring it to your body, boom, it smacks you in the face. Valdez was able to land that left hook and that left uppercut right after Ruben's jab, right? Because Ruben's essentially blinding himself. Mind you, if Ruben just does a slight correction, which is just jab and bring it to his face, that uppercut or left hook gets blocked, right? Now, for the most of the time, Ruben stayed in the pocket, right? I think it was the 5th round. That's when he started to bounce and kind of take the round off, and he was hopping in, hopping back out with the 1-2 and just a jab, and that's what he was kind of doing. And then he picked it up like in the 7th or the 8th or something like that. I don't think that's going to work against Venado, bro. And the reason why is you have to get Venado's attention, right? And you have to get his attention with hard punches because he's just walking down these dudes, bro. Right?
Yeah.
Just getting strong. It was kind of like Oscar Valdez. I don't think Ruben hits harder than Oscar Valdez, right? And Valdez was loading up hella hard just to get Navarrete's respect, and Navarrete was unfazed. Yesterday, Venado more or less looked unfazed against Joet Gonzalez. It was like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna roll with your right hand, boom. I'm gonna roll with your left hook, boom. You know, you're gonna land a couple of punches. I know, but just watch when I throw my entourage of punches. Watch this blitz, watch this flurry, watch this combinations, and then Joet just, I don't know, bro. He like you said, he just comes forward and just soaks up all these punches, and it's like, bro, take a half step back, hop back, pivot to your right, circle out. Like he just fucking dude, it's fucking frustrating, dog. I don't know, man.
Yeah, but you know what, homie Ricky, he did do some of the right things, some of the things that you and I had even proposed, right? Which is stay in the pocket and come forward because Juan Luis Lopez El Venado, he doesn't like to be pushed back, and he doesn't get off his great and crazy wild punches from a close range. So he did the right thing, except I agree with Drew. He just didn't angle enough. He didn't angle enough, and in fact, he didn't throw enough punches or concussive enough punches to try to neutralize or deter the aggression of El Venado, which I don't think you can really do anything to deter him from throwing like that. But it was just telling when you heard the punches land from one man to the next. Every time Lopez threw a punch, even when they were blocked, it was just like boom, boom, boom.
Yeah,
and the other guy was just whistling. Everything else from Joet Gonzalez was just a little whistle.
Yeah, no, I feel like Ruben, Joet just doesn't use angles, bro. Like Joet's just a basic fighter. When I watch him fight, he's a great fighter. He has heart, but I just feel like he's just a basic fighter. He just didn't change up the game plan. And when I see Ruben, I see a lot of pivot switches when he needs to. I feel like he'll do that only when when it's actually like when shit gets hot, he'll actually, when he wants to exchange with someone, he'll utilize that pivot move. But honestly, man, his pedigree is so high. Sometimes he don't need to use his angles. So I feel like with Venado, once he does that, I think he'll use his angles throughout the whole fight, to win some rounds. And I just feel like Venado's just not technically sound, bro. It's just, I think that needs to be capitalized on. And Ruben's a perfect fighter to do that. I think any fighter that has Ruben's pedigree and heart is capable of beating Venado. I just feel that way. But yeah, let me see. Adam Hurley. He says Xander Zayas is doing a lot for a 21-year-old. He's already 17-0 with 11 knockouts. And yeah, man, he's doing his thing. He's, like you said, he's fighting competition. I think eventually he'll go down as one of the best middleweights, in the world, like pretty soon. I like his style. I like what he does inside the ring. He does get caught sometimes, but no, he's a solid fighter. I think
fight, bro.
Wait, so middleweight. So you think he's not going to be staying at 154 long? You see him being better at
154. My bad. Yeah, that's
okay.
That's
light middleweight. Okay,
that's what I meant. My bad.
Yeah, he looks good at 154. He don't look like Jermaine Ortiz. He looks good.
Yeah, he looks good.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not nowhere near.
And he don't look too sucked up. He just looks like that's his weight class for now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he looks comfortable in that weight class too.
Yes, sir.
It looks like he's well like portioned, like he's not like heavy top heavy, he's not bottom heavy, he's like balanced, That's what I like about him, and he'll exchange if he has to.
Yeah,
He's really sharp.
he did
Is that Puerto
he
Rico's
did
best
everything
star?
excellently, guys.
What was that?
Is that Puerto Rico's next big boxer?
That's what they're saying, man. It's just 154 is such a dangerous division. It's gonna be hard to. They're gonna have to build this guy up pretty good.
Yeah.
Let me
That's
ask
all.
you, do you think he can beat a guy named like Jason Rosario?
Banana.
Yeah, like can he beat even like
Yeah.
Nathaniel Gallimore right now?
I only watched him fight once. That's a tough one. I don't know. Yeah.
What
Let's see
about
Banana.
Tony Harrison?
Tony Harrison. Man, honestly, that's a close fight, but I think he can edge him out. I think that he belongs. I think he belongs in that weight class.
He will belong.
Jab.
Huh? What was that?
His jab is nasty.
Yeah, like
It's
in a good
almost,
way, right?
it's almost perfect.
Yeah. I was like, nasty. Yeah, no, it's good, bro. Like he whips that thing out, and no, he's tall too. He's like what 5'11", 5'10". So, he's got that distance too.
Now,
I was watching his entrance. I thought that was pretty dope. He bought Tego Calderon.
Tego Calderon.
Calderon. Say it right.
No, that guy's a gangster. Like
Yeah, yeah.
that guy's a gangster. Tego Calderon,
Who?
he's good.
I don't even know who that
Who
was.
the fuck is that?
Yeah, who's that?
Well, he's like a Puerto Rican rapper. For the most part, he played. Well, I
It's
just know
Tego
some of
Calderon,
his.
bro. Tego Calderon. Tego
Oh,
Calderon.
Tego Calderon.
Calderon. Come on.
I didn't know
We're in America, buddy. Come on.
I didn't know who Calderon was. Sorry.
No, he's grimy,
Tego Calderon.
yeah, gangster talking
Yeah, I
Spanish
know.
guy. He's a gangster talking Spanish guy. Like he can get nasty with the words. He can be antagonistic and confrontational. He's a very good rapper, and I'm just talking
The words that you completely understand.
yeah, the curse words.
The ones that you completely understand word for word, bar for bar.
Yeah,
The ones you know better than I do, but you pronounce Calderon instead.
Calderon. So yeah, no, that was fun. There was some controversial. There was some controversy, guys. Well, I thought it was controversial. The homie Ricky and we were going back and forth about it, but eventually that fight between his opponent, Sander Saya, stopped him, I think, in the fourth round. It was a technical because I guess he definitely lacerated the nose of an opponent right underneath the bridge. It was a pretty deep cut, the type of cut that as soon as you dry it up, starts leaking. But it was not impeding his. Well, it could have impeded should blood start getting into his eyes with punches and all that. But he looked pretty clean otherwise. Now, I think he was getting outclassed, so there is that valid argument. But there was a moment in the fight where it must have been about 30 seconds remaining in one of the rounds, the round right before they stopped it, where the referee called the doctor over and he told him, "Hey, check this guy out." And they went to check this guy out, and the doctor looked at him, and the doctor's doing his thing, and he's trying to analyze the hemorrhaging. And the doctor, he doesn't seem too impressed, at least not impressed enough to want to stop it. He's looking at it, but he definitely is trying to be considerate of the ref. The ref is like, "Well, doctor, look at this." And I'm thinking, bro, there's 30 seconds left. It's just a cut on the nose. It's not in this. Yeah, it's not in his brow. It's not in his eyeball.
Like, he kept bleeding though.
Yeah. But here's the thing, though. I mean, look at Errol Spence. He kept bleeding too.
It wasn't that bad though. This one was
what are you talking about? Errol Spence looked like a mutant.
Okay, no. So what it is that you have a fucking big ass vein that goes through that bone right there, and it comes out right there like water.
That's ridiculous, Speed, bro. That dude's nose.
Let me cook.
You're not cooking, bro. You're not cooking with hot grease, bro. You put water, baby.
He burnt it. He burnt the tortillas.
Real, bro.
So what I'm saying is this. In fact, actually, one of the best ways to heal
Tortillas.
uh, hey, Ruben Villa told me to say it Villa, so now I'm saying tortillas. Jeez. Cut me a break, man. Out here. Oh, you give me crap for when I say Calderon, and now you want me to, man. Anyways, so there was 30 seconds left, and the doctor said, "Let him fight." So the guy goes over there and he starts to cook for another 10 seconds. Then the referee stops the fight again, and he goes back over there and he tells the ref, "Come and look at this." And the fighter, he's just like, "Come on, doc, like this ain't bothering me, it's just a cut, who cares?" And he knows that he's vivid, and he knows that he's aware and conscious, he's just cut. Now the the doctor wants to allow it to go on. He lets it go back out there, and then the fight ends 10 seconds later. Then the next round starts, and then all of a sudden, like 30 seconds in, or maybe a minute at most, all of a sudden, Sanders Sayas throws a punch and they stop it. Now, the fighter wanted to go on. The fight was not the kind of the bloodletting was serious, but it was not the kind that was impeding his vision. It wasn't gonna blind him unless the blood started to get pushed into his nose. Yes, I understand he was being outclassed, but he was still a very alive fighter out there.
Did he make the distance?
No, they stopped it because
Yeah. Too
the
much
referee
blood.
just wanted it. He stopped it. Like he
Yeah.
disregarded what the doctor said and he stopped it. And of course, the Mexican opponent was upset, and the Puerto Rican started jumping in joy. I get that, but I just thought, look, let him finish out the round. Just that, and he did eventually after stopping the fight and the action for two opportunities in like about 30 seconds or a minute's time. I thought he could have gone on. I thought that he could have at least started, throwing everything in the kitchen sink to the Puerto Rican Sayas, but they ended up stopping it. Homie Ricky agreed with the stoppage. I I disagreed with the way that the ref was approaching the bloodletting. It looked like he had never seen blood before, in my
No,
opinion.
I mean the thing is the where the cut was located. It's like right beneath where like a shit ton of blood goes to your brain and shit. So I know it's not blocking his eye, but the thing is the amount of blood that you lose during a fight, it can be detrimental to your health after the fight. Like you can have seizures from losing too much blood, and you won't even have any like medical conditions or anything like that. So you lose a certain percentage of blood, you got to
Uh-huh.
go to the hospital. You got to go to the hospital, and that's protocol. Like regardless, like you lose like I forget like a
Yeah.
liter of blood,
Yeah.
you need to go to the hospital because there can
But
be medical like a
but
lot of
Drew,
shit that
Drew,
can go.
who do you
Yep.
think is more knowledgeable about all things medical, the
The
ref
doc,
or the doctor?
the doc, and that's where you're right. That's where you're like, okay, like the doc didn't stop the fight, but the ref, but the, but the thing is, that's what I was saying.
Yeah, because that
Texas,
Oh,
doctor's a little shit.
yeah, that's the thing.
guys,
Texas, I was saying a couple episodes ago, Texas is very lenient with their fights. Like they don't, their doctors, like they will let a fight go on. Like they're really lenient in Texas. That's what I meant.
guys, I have
Yeah.
very serious news. I apologize. Uh, breaking news. I really do. Damn. So you guys, I think it was Drew.
Spill the beans, man.
No.
Give me
Drew,
with the headline. I don't need
Drew,
no marination.
Drew once said, uh, "Death, taxes, and Sky Nicholson by unanimous decision." Okay, I got news. You mentioned that everybody at the corner of her opponent was.
Worried.
Yo, you cut off, bro.
Yeah, you cut off, man. Damn, did he cut off or is he trying to be like,
No. I'm here to say that her opponent, as of just a couple of hours, well, actually, a few minutes after the fight, she didn't make it to the hospital and passed away.
no
So,
fucking way?
so Sky Nicholson, you can say it's death, taxes, and death at the hands of Sky Nicholson. She suffered a brain infarct, which is basically a stroke caused by a blood clot. Uh, and minutes after she was escorted out of the Coliseum in Tijuana,
Wow.
she passed away. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. It was sad because I was watching the fight. Were you watching the fight live?
No.
And you guys?
I watched I watched a little bit
Mm.
right at the end. I
Oh,
actually saw the end. It was like
yeah.
he was at the corner punching her, and then that was it. But I didn't see the
No.
whole fight.
Yeah, I seen the yeah, I pretty much watched the whole fight, and like I was on my phone once the bell rang, and I look up, and for some reason, like someone is crying on their corner, and then the announcers see it, and then they say, "Oh, something is wrong. They're rushing her back to the back or something like that. It doesn't look too good." And I'm thinking like okay, like she's just gonna go to the hospital, and what can not look too good? She made it the distance. She made the distance, and she didn't look too bad of a shape. Like she wasn't wobbly. She wasn't none of that. You know. The thing is, she just her coloration around her eye just looked kind of off. You know, it looked kind of like it was really
Damn.
purple. A color. It was like a color that you don't tend to see. Like usually you see a lot of redness. Like you see Ruben right here. Like you just see like red. He just gets red like a tomato, and she was really like light complected,
Damn.
and yet she was getting purple, bro. Like her face was getting purple, and
So was Sky landing a lot of like flush, dangerous
yeah,
punches? Or was it
yeah.
like death by a million blows? Or
No, I mean there was some times where like she could have put her away, but she held and she maintained. She stood her ground, and she didn't look shook. You know, she was eating every single punch. And
Wow, guys, fuck!
what happened?
How bad can this get?
What?
Oh my goodness! Check. Okay, all right. There might be some crazy shit going on here, guys. But this is both being presented by ESPN Plus. Mike Coppinger, of all people. Now we do know that Coppinger has the nickname of Cappinger because a lot of the stuff he says comes out to be untrue or prematurely reported. But check this out. God, I can't believe this. Diego Arrua, trainer and husband of Sabrina Perez, he dies at 58. Now check this out.
who is that?
Boxing trainer Diego Arrua died Friday night in Tijuana, Mexico, following a heart attack suffered during his wife Sabrina Perez's bout against Sky Nicholson. WBC President Mauricio Suleiman said on X, the social media platform formerly known as Twitter, Arrua was 58. Arrua collapsed between rounds 9 and 10 of the bout, probably leading to the people that you saw crying, which was
What?
broadcast on the Zone and was part of the Matchroom Boxing Show at the Auditorio Municipal Fausto Gutierrez. He is the husband and trainer of Perez, who fights out of Buenos Aires. And he goes on to state, it is with deep sadness that we have been informed of the sudden death of Argentine coach Diego Arrua, who suffered a devastating heart attack during the Sabrina Perez fight in Tijuana, Suleiman said. Perez was not in the ring when the decision was read at the conclusion of her fight. Nicholson won the unanimous decision to claim the WBC interim featherweight title. Our thoughts and condolences. This was reported at 1:24 in the morning Eastern time. Now,
So what you're saying is the female boxer died, and then her trainer died soon after.
oh,
No.
whoa, 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 what's okay? Whoa, 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 whoa. This is okay. See, this is why. This is why. This is why you have to fact check. Somebody sent me the link that was prematurely reporting that it was her who died. What's going on here?
Yeah. So it's on Boxing Scene. So Diego Arrua, husband and trainer of Sabrina Maribel Perez, passes away at age 58. So he suffered a heart attack
Well,
during his wife Sabrina's fight versus Sky Nicholson.
What?
Sky Nicholson ended up winning. So yeah, your facts are all wrong. But
Okay.
yeah, it's not the female fighter; it was the trainer, and he tragically passed. Of cardiac arrest, essentially.
wow, that's
Yeah,
so bittersweet because I thought that Sky Nicholson was a
It's not
pillow
funny, but
fisted Olympian style fighter.
I was
Uh,
gonna say, like Sky Nicholson ain't known for to be able to put punishment like that on people. So
yeah,
I was quite shocked when you say that. I was like,
yeah, I
huh?
was shocked too.
and
Yeah.
guys, imagine she being right there at the corner, right? And her husband is the trainer. And then almost 2 rounds before the fight ends, her husband has an infarct. I guess a heart infarct. Uh, not
Don't
a
say
cerebral
infarct,
one.
bro. Say heart attack. Don't say infart. Infart
Yeah.
sounds very disrespectful.
Mm-hmm.
No, well, that's the medical terms,
Oh,
guys.
it's
A
cardiac.
heart look, a heart attack is any kind of attack that attacks the
Say
cardiac
infarct.
system, especially the muscle known as the heart. That could be something like arrhythmia or anything like that. But when we talk about something as devastating as a fatal heart attack, we have to use the proper term, which is an infarct. An infarct is the type of heart attack.
It's a
Uh,
medical term.
yeah, that could lead to someone's death. So it's bittersweet to report that, guys, because in one sense it's good to know that Sky Nicholson does not have to go back home to Australia thinking that she killed a woman, because I don't think we look, guys, this is the reality of the sport. We know that once we step into the ring, especially like myself, I know this when I put my son to fight, we know that they could be seriously hurt. We know that this is a warrior sport. We know that death has been part of this sport. As much as we want to ignore it, as much as we want to avoid talking about it, but Sky Nicholson, uh, if she had killed a woman, she would probably be affected by it, but she would understand, right? That this is part of the sport. It could have happened to her. It could have happened to her opponent. So it's good that she doesn't have to think about that. It's good that Sabrina Perez doesn't have to be buried. But it is very
Well,
lamentable to know that her husband and trainer, as close as that pact was, has been severed because of something as bad as a heart attack, guys. And I reported some fallacious news
yeah,
that was sent to me erroneously. I guess maybe these were
these
just
people,
breaking news.
the
But
live
you know
viewers
what?
got a
You were
kick.
saying you almost set it up though, Drew, because you
Oh,
told us how
because act
devastating
on
this
him.
said it was. I didn't know what was going on, and then when you
Don't
we
act on impulse.
yeah, people wrote on impulse, and I reported on impulse, so I just wanted to correct that right there. Her husband
Yeah,
died.
that's why I didn't I would have done my research before, but I just want that's why I want to say, like, yeah, somebody was crying in their corner. I'm not too
That's
sure
so
what
funny.
happened, and I was like, damn, hopefully she's okay. So I'm glad Rick finally connected the dots for us, because I was like really confused right now. I was like, so who, so now we get it. That's sad. That's really unfortunate. Uh I can only imagine what was going on through her mind around 9 or 10.
Wow.
It's like, what she was thinking, like, for her to finish the fight, they were, you know, um, I'm pretty sure they were looking at her like, do you want to stop the fight? Like, I'm pretty sure they were asking her that, and she probably said, I want to continue or something, So, um, yeah, that's super unfortunate. I'm glad Rick came to the rescue, because I would have
Yeah,
had to
man,
like,
that was a very weird turn of events there. But I
Hey
got
guys,
switching up.
out of respect, just let's just give him a let's just give him a 10 10 bells, right? Just give me 10 seconds.
That's
Rest in peace, man. Rest in peace.
no worries, no worries. Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, tragedy happens in the sport of boxing, bro. So that was trainer and husband. So
Wow.
set up. It was happening during. I'm not too sure how many rounds Sky Nicholson and them went. If it was 10 or 8, they should have stopped the fight. I mean, hell, last year a football player had a cardiac arrest as well. The safety Damar Hamlin, and they completely stopped the whole game,
Yeah, I
right?
know that was
Because
sad.
people were shook. So they should have done the same thing to that fight versus Sky Nicholson because yeah, bro, like dude, this is just a sport and there's more important shit, especially when
Mhm.
your husband and trainer is essentially dying.
Yeah,
Maybe there's emotions, maybe he wasn't eating healthy, or maybe it was just his time and the Grim Reaper was there. But whatever the case may be, yeah, they should have just stopped the fight and just gone on to the main event. But with that being said, man, look, Luis Alberto Lopez does a great job versus Joet Gonzalez. So Drew says, right, that Ruben Villa can take advantage
mm-hmm.
and put a stop it on him. Do you
Not
hold the
too
same
much of a
sentiment? Do you hold the same sentiment, Speed, based on what you saw with Ruben and Venado versus Joet Gonzalez last night?
talking to me.
No, I'm talking. I posed the question to Speed, but he's
What,
pretty.
what? Oh, I'm sorry. I was putting on my. I gotta get ready to go to the fight. What was the question, Hobie Ricky?
I said Drew believes that Ruben Villa is able to replicate his success that he had in the first match with Joet. Do you hold the same sentiment based on the two fights that you saw last night?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, right? Okay, so here's the thing. This is a very complicated matter because we know that Ruben Villa has the same base style that he implemented before to win a convincing yet tough fight against Lopez El Venado about 4 nearing 5 years ago. So that hasn't changed. And in fact, one of the things that I saw in Ruben Villa uh, the fourth, the day of yesterday, was more aggression. Yes, I did notice a reduction of his angling, but yet he started to get better and angle more and be more defensively sound towards the latter half of the fight. So that means that he's actually able to learn while he's taking a fight on. So I think he's definitely showing some ring savvy and IQ there. I think those are pluses that only adds up to the fact that he's already experienced this fighter before and he has no reason to have any kind of trepidations and fighting him again. But more notably, we do also have to consider that Ruben Villa has taken the softest route between both men. And he has been much more inactive, whereby the other guy has been getting more experience fighting a different variety of fighters at their home style. And especially the day of yesterday, Lopez El Venado was much more defensively sound and considerate of his punch selection. Now, when you are a fighter like Lopez El Venado, yes, you don't worry about the loss that you have, right? Because those losses don't make you concerned about being a failure or thinking that your base style is not working. No, no, no. In fact, all they do is make you stronger because he's able to survive an Olympian. He's able to come up and redeem himself, go on to become a champion in people's backyard, beat undefeated fighters, and beat Olympians on that way to a possible rematch between the man from I think Tepito, Mexico, and the Selenian Ruben Villa the fourth. So do I think Ruben Villa can replicate it? Yes, because he's done it once. Why wouldn't he? Especially if he himself is getting better also. But the thing is this, the guy who's done way more and has done it greater has been the Mexican. And if, like you said, homie, the fact of the matter is this, if he makes just one lapse of judgment in his defense, just one knockdown at the hands of uh, of Lopez could change the dynamic of the fight because we know that another Olympian, very crafty, southpaw, a very good fighter, very mobile, and Mick Conlon got knocked the spark out. So he could spark out people. Um, I think this is a way different fight. I've said it myself that should Ruben Villa the fourth ever take on this fight, he should not walk in there feeling smug about his past victory, because this is probably the fighter with the greatest run after redemption that I've seen in a very long time. In fact, I believe that Lopez El Venado is one of the most overlooked and ignored, even by some discredited fighters in the sport right now. I actually do favor El Venado.
Yeah, I actually like. I was actually gonna say how much I like. I appreciate the promoters putting Ruben on the same card as Venado. You know, because now they talk about Venado, they're gonna say something about Ruben. You know, and I think that's what it is. It's how much money they make, how much notoriety these fights have. Because regardless, Venado versus somebody like Robeson, that's a hardcore. I mean, that's a hardcore fight right there. You know, and hopefully Ruben can actually build more of a following. So then you know, the fight against Ruben can actually look more attractive. You know, but yeah, like Ricky was saying earlier, I think if I was Venado, you know, I'm going for the money fight. I'm gonna fight Robeson Ramirez. You know.
Yeah, man, I agree. It's gonna be very interesting to see what the next turn of events for both are. Their league.
Ricky. What do you think? Because we're always wrong.
Yeah.
Nah,
What do
man.
you think? Mhm.
We've kind of already discussed over. I already kind of
Yeah, we
gave my
did.
view
Yeah.
and standing, so I don't really want to repeat myself with that aspect. So, but just to recap it, I think obviously Ruben could win. I don't think he's going to though, man. Um, again, what I saw, okay, if Ruben wants to beat Venado Lopez, he's got to fix. Ruben has defensive issues, believe it or not, and one of the reasons is his lead hand in terms of he doesn't use his lead hand to block punches. He uses his right shoulder and his right hand is blocking his body, right? So everything in terms of a left hook, a left uppercut, and even a jab is susceptible to land on Ruben. Now he does have his two, which he'll catch and parry. But again, you can only do that if the guy's not gonna throw more than one or two, three punches. Bernardo throws like 5, 7, 8, or 10. So yeah, man, you can't block all of those, and you have to stand your ground. Ruben is standing his ground a little bit, but again, you got to stand your ground with a high guard and use what Shakur does, that little lean back and then punch, pot shot in between, lead back and then coming forward. Ruben doesn't do that.
Mhm.
So that's gonna trouble Ruben, and then Ruben needs to dig to the body much more, right? And when he does that, he finds success because then the opponents drop their hands down to protect the body, and then Ruben can come upstairs. Look, Ruben's best punches is all with the right hand. All right. I believe Ruben is a orthodox fighter fighting out of the southpaw stance. Okay. I don't know if Ruben writes with his left hand. I don't know if he throws a football with his right hand or he throws a baseball with his left hand. I don't know. But I believe in terms of what I see, he's a right-handed fighter that has his right hand as his lead hand. So he has basically the jab and the right hook are his strongest punches. Everything with the left, it's not coordinated for a knockout. It's weaker than his lead hand. So his two is weaker than his jab. That's just what I believe. And then if you go based on how he helped the precision and the discipline that he has with that right hand in terms of throwing that jab and the right hook, it's flawless. It's perfect. Now you go watch the same thing when he throws that little left uppercut and the lefts too. They don't have that same potency. So that's just what I believe. So what I mean to say is going. I don't see Ruben being able to knock down Venado, right? Because of that too is a little weak. So he needs to
No,
double up the right hook and follow and always end the combination with a jab and then establish that right hook, bro, to the body or to the face. And if he wants to throw a gazelle uppercut with the lead hand, go for it. But yeah, man, I don't know. I would have to see like another fight, but I think he would probably have a better matchup with Robeisy Ramirez, who isn't such a, a flurry fighter like Venado or Navarrete. He's much more like Ruben, but he's unfortunately he's being trained with Ismael Salas. So Salas is a trainer that actually trains for power, right? Brian Mendoza has power. You saw it against Sebastian Fondora. Robeisy Ramirez has power, right? But it's not like sleeping concussive power because he couldn't even drop Isaac Dogbo once. So we know he don't hit harder than Navarrete. So I would, if I'm Ruben, I'm tailoring towards fighting the gold medalist and then getting that reputation of fighting a gold medalist, beating the gold medalist, and taking his belt, then try to unify versus Venado. Because yeah, bro, I think Venado is a top guy at 126. I mean, you gotta look at the 126 fighters. It's him, Robeisy Ramirez, Lee Wood, who is fighting Josh Warrington like in a month or so, and then the WBC champion is Brandon Figueroa. Figueroa, I don't think he's that great, but he has an ugly fighting style, so he's gonna bring the pain and just a bunch of punches. But it's always gonna be just one of those like, man, I'm fighting Brandon Figueroa. I'm gonna get ready for war because I'm not gonna look pretty in this fight. But he just sucks, bro.
Yeah,
But whatever.
yeah. But look, just
On that note, since we kind of covered it, the Zone is having fights tonight, right? You got William Zepeda versus Mercito Hesta, Yocasta Valle versus some other chick. You guys think William Zepeda? What do you guys expect out of these fights, and what do you think they'll deliver?
you know what? I thought about it. You know what, Drew? Hit this.
Oh, minute. Oh man,
Yeah.
I was as you were starting to talk, I was
Eating, eating. I could tell.
I was getting on BoxRec. No, I was logging into BoxRec as you were talking, and then I was like, fuck, like who's the undercard? I was trying to check that out. But for the main card, William Cepeda versus Gesta. It should be a good fight. I got Cepeda, obviously. Hold on, I'm trying to see. Yeah, because Gesta's been an underdog a lot, and he's actually surprised a lot of people. I think he wouldn't be here without those upset wins on people like Jojo Diaz and who else did he upset is somebody else. But no, this guy,
Joel Diaz Jr.
yeah, Joel Diaz Jr. So yeah, this guy has a lot of experience. I think we've already said that he's started his debut in 03. So this guy, has been around for a minute, but yeah, should be a great fight. I'm trying to check out the undercard right now.
a
I
lot of
think
Mexican, a lot of Mexican nationals.
okay, Victor Morales. I remember Victor Morales. He's fighting a dude named Edwin Palomares. Not
Yeah.
sure who that is, but Victor should get the dub. I bet on this guy to actually get a knockout last time, and he actually got it. And I was like, damn. And that was one of those things I got from TBV podcast. They seen
The
something,
betting
and then
show.
they're the ones that actually put me on him, and I was like, all right. So I checked him out. Dude's pretty good. Used to be a national champion. I think he's won a couple of those. So this guy got some amateur pedigree.
Yeah.
And then you'll man, there's a shit ton of fights.
Yocasta Valle.
Yeah, Yocasta Valle versus Maria Micheo Santizo.
Santizo.
Mm-hmm.
Yocasta Valle is a very good fighter. They've been trying to set up a female fighter. They've been trying to set up a fight between her and East Los Angeles, Siniesa Estrada. Depending on what fights you see, Yocasta Valle looks booty. Depending on whether you've seen it or not, Siniesa Estrada looked very booty last fight. Perhaps even lost it. So right now you're going up against the fighter who's 31 years old versus Yocasta Valle, which I forget what her age is really, but she
31.
also they're equally aged.
No, the other 38.
Who's 38?
The weird name that you just pronounced right now.
Yocasta Valle?
No, the other one.
Siniesa Estrada?
No, the other girl.
Maria Michel.
Oh,
She's
yeah. Yeah, so what I'm saying is that they've been trying to set up a unification or maybe a disputed fight between those two fighters, Siniesa and Yocasta. Um, it'll make for a very good fight, but I think this is gonna be a soft touch, especially that now that Homie Ricky revealed their age, because they don't want to interrupt the possibility of a crossover fight between top rank female fighter Siniesa Estrada, who just barely had her first fight over there, and Yocasta Valle, who has just fought second fight, or this one, her third with Golden Boy promotion. So I think, this is supposed to be a soft touch. But I thought about it, guys. I think this is Mercito Gesta's retirement fight.
Really?
Yeah, Mercito is closer to 40.
Oh, I
Um,
thought you read something that said that you're just like saying that because of his age.
So you think
Look,
to them out?
and it's not. No, I think he's just gonna overwhelm him, and there's just not gonna be enough action coming back from the Pinoy, and it's gonna be like that for many rounds. The age on Mercito Gesta is gonna start showing. It's not the inactivity, because I think he just fought most recently, like 6 months ago, maybe eight, because it do laid that man out for a long time. I don't know why Golden Boy has in at times even set him out for like a year and a half after he's won. But I think Mercito had a very tough fight with Jojo Diaz. uh he was still scrappy, so we know he's game. But we have a very active, very uh, aggressive, uh, high output fighter, and Cepeda, El Camarón Cepeda, and I think it's just going to show. It's going to be a very bad combination of conditions for Mercito Gesta, and they're going to probably stop it in the eighth, maybe the
Wow.
ninth. Unfortunately, because I really like our older fighters. I love that they
Just
can
fuck.
still.
I hope not, because I just put like a $30 bet parlay with custom. Fuck. So
My
as you hear this, I'm like, as I'm hearing you speak, I'm like, God damn, bro, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, yeah, bro. I was watching us Camarón fight, and I was like really impressed, and I
Yeah.
was like wondering how like this guy is not the guy that lost to Regis, right?
No,
No,
no.
that's Tone Zepeda. That's Jose.
Okay, I get these guys confused. Never mind, this guy's undefeated. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Go ahead.
let me give you guys a little as you guys were talking and I'm hearing all this fucking my ego is all going off. So I was like, what the fuck, man? This makes sense. I was kind of browsing the internet and I don't know if you guys still hold on and retain to PlayStation 1 console or video games, but Silent Hill for the PlayStation 1. I don't know if you guys remember this game or ever.
Yeah, yeah.
It's $300.
What?
Dude,
The
in like
game?
24 years, if you guys somehow still have your PlayStation consoles,
Shit.
like if you fucking try to restore your shit, bro, that might just be worth like $50,000 like in 10 years from now, bro.
The PS1?
Yeah, PlayStation 1. So let me just give you a little it's because I'm not on my computer, I'm on my phone, so I can't screen share.
I still have mine.
But there's this badass video game, bro. It's called Silent Hill, right?
Never played that
Super
one.
good, super scary. And you're basically this guy who I don't know if he has dementia or not, but he's looking for his girlfriend, right? And the beauty about this game is it's very cloudy and very gray, kind of like Marino weather with hella nasty overcast, right?
It's a beautiful game. It's the best game.
It really is. It really is. And the graphics are so like crappy and shitty that it like pixelated that it makes it even scarier.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you're walking this guy. He's got like a green trench coat type of shit. Looks like very you know, gothic. Short hair type of dude, right? And every time you walk into this mist or this overcast, you can take like 1 or 3 steps, and then there's like a fucking figure coming out of the shadows, or sometimes they fucking hop on you, bro. And you're like, what the fuck? And it just like always sudden pop-ups. You know what I mean? And it's fucking scary. You know what I mean? It's like a jump cut, like, ah! And they always get you like, ah, you fucking scum. Anyway, I'm looking at some of these prices for these PlayStation 1 video games. Mind you, the quality is trash, but they're starting to get to $300, bro. I'm like, what the fuck? That's crazy. I don't know. That I just wanted to add that little insert. But yeah, man, that's wild.
I didn't
Yeah.
want to.
So
Go ahead. Go ahead.
no, sorry. I just wanted to mention that a lot of the inflation of these prices are actually provoked by a company called Water Games. So I'm not too sure if you guys follow video gaming news. I subscribe to one of the best podcasts on YouTube and Spotify and wherever, Discord or whatever it's called, named ACG. ACG. I think it's All Centaur Gaming. Um, He's he's a very knowledgeable former insider for video games, and I also subscribe to another guy. Well, I used to, not no more, because a lot of it is a lot of frivolity and empty reporting with no substance. But he's R RGT85. Now RGT85, he's not as knowledgeable as ACG, but he reports on a lot of the fun stuff, like Water Games. Now, Water Games is a company that started about 6, 7 years ago. And what they would do is that they would um, grade your video games. Like, for example, if you collect anything, there's companies that are dedicated to grading the quality of your collectible so that they could help you come up with a price, and then they evaluate it, and then you can say, hey, I got this professional company, has this background in antiquities and otherwise, and they discovered that my game is worth so and so in the condition that it's in. Um, so they have started to taking up games like from the Nintendo video game, right? The first NES console, which came out like in 1984 in the United States and 1982 over there in Japan, and it had another name. I can't remember what it was called, but nonetheless, they would take the very first Super Mario cartridge for the NES, and because it was the gold label one, they graded it, and that one was in the case and it never been open and otherwise, and there was like a number, and they were able to look at the UPC code and analyze that it was one of the very first games made. Well, anyways, they evaluated it like, maybe I'm mistaken here, but in the hundreds of thousands, if not millions. Now, mind you guys, the first Super Mario Brothers game, it was mass produced, right? It was millions in the making, because everybody who could afford one had a Nintendo Entertainment System. So to mass produce a product and then sell it for millions, like if it was absolutely scarce and in complete demand, then that's just ludicrous, because the only people that would pay that money would be super wealthy individuals. So it was discovered that they were working with some super wealthy individuals to buy these games, right? Quote unquote, buy these games, creating a false demand for these products, because there wouldn't have been that demand, because you can get a Nintendo anywhere. Yeah, they're a little harder to get, and especially if they're badly worn down, you may have to do a little bit of maintenance and work to get them running perfectly. But nonetheless, these are gaming systems and games that were mass produced. There is no way these games are worth that much. But because somebody would pay WADA $30 or $40 to grade their video games, all of a sudden that $30 grading cost would come out to be an inflated game for like $200, right? So it was a great investment to just pay a couple of bucks to get WADA, quote unquote, experts to grade your games, so then you can flip them for more. And because there's a lot of suckers that are into nostalgia and wanting to be little kids because they remember how wholesome times were before politics became so divisive and everybody was scared. Because of that, all of a sudden you have Silent Hill, which was, yes, a great game for the PlayStation 1, all of a sudden be worth $300 average. Ridiculous.
Yeah, no, those are some very astute points. You know, it looks like you're well reversed and you've done your research. But that being said, yeah, man. Hopefully you guys preserve your guys' old like everything, even from shoes to old ass underwear and you know what I'm saying?
What?
Especially your consoles, man.
Did you say underwear?
Hey, your old ass underwear.
Hey, I
What?
got some bacon underwear for sale.
Yeah, yeah.
No,
Never
but I'm
been
just fucking
shit
around.
on.
But yeah, I just kind of wanted to let you guys know in that little insert. So, just since we kind of covered a little bit of boxing and video games, man. Well, have you guys been doing anything out sports related? Just what's going on with y'all guys' lives, man?
Hit that, Drew.
Um, my bad. I'm eating. Yeah, man. Nothing much. Just been watching these fights. Football's been on my mind lately. I've been
Yes, sir.
I retired from betting boxing yesterday. I might do like little $20, $10 like deposits, but I'm
Yeah.
done with that. I'm done with that, bro. I'm like, fuck, man, anything.
Well, I'm gonna say this, bro. I know you're hurting because you were so close to win in terms of getting your
Was
high hopes, but those bets that you did, bro, those are fucking solid, bro.
they were.
Don't get discouraged from betting. Just do get discouraged from putting 300 down. But in terms of what you had in that lineup and parlay that you showed me, I'm just like, yeah, bro, Drew, you was fucking on point. It's
I was
just that
there.
motherfucker failed you down, bro. That's really what
Yeah.
it comes down to. And that shit happens. That's the part of the gambling. I would just say though that was a pretty big down hefty deposit. So I would say, yeah, bro, just continue with those like 10-15 bucks, bank up, like get maybe 140 of profits, and then
Mhm.
then you double down on that 140. Don't just put 300 out the bag. You feel me?
Yeah, no, I did that, and I was like, motherfucker. So,
Yeah, then
like, yeah, go ahead. No, I was
but yeah,
I do like for football. I don't do straight bets for football. I do I'll do these DraftKings, the lineups. You know, which one I'm talking about. I
yeah,
just build my own team. I'm good at that. So like I'll do like $5 bets for a game. You know, for one game, and it's pretty much $1 entries. You can do whatever, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10. You know, you can do any of those entries, but I deposit 5 and I just do like 5 entries
for $1.
depending on who's the favorite. I'll
Yeah,
if it's like a even matchup, then I'll do like 2 favoring, the favorite team, and 2, the other team, and one with both, But I've been good at that, man, and I'm lately, so far this season, I've been doing I put in 10 and I won 40 Thursday night football. So
nice.
yeah, so I've been doing pretty good. And prior to that, uh, I put 5 in and I got 6 out of that, and I was like, all right, I'm winning. I'm doing something good. The thing
Yeah,
is, it's a little unpredictable right
yeah,
now because they don't know identities and all that. But I'm just kind of rolling with something, and I'm going with it. But I also do that. I collect football cards as well.
hmm
I've been this is a year that, you know, uh, if you have like a second year or third year quarterback, and I have graded cards at like PSA 10. So this is a year, or this is the season where you make the money, based on their hype. You know, I got a Jalen Hurts, a Trevor Lawrence, and a Brock Purdy auto, but I'm selling those. So I that's why I like football, man. Because I know it's a little more predictable. Boxing makes you feel like you don't know it, sometimes. And that's what it is. It's you don't know what's going on inside their heads. With football, they have a game plan. Everything's all set. But yeah, that's what I've been up to, man. On Sundays at least. Saturdays been boxing, strictly boxing.
For sure, brother. Let me put you up on some game, bro. I do the DraftKings too, and it's very hard, bro, because you're going up with like, let's say you do the $1 game. Sometimes you might be going up against 1 million people, 500,000 people, 200,000. There's this app called Price Picks. Um, it's like a black box with like it says Price Picks, but it's like a purple outline. That is kind of like DraftKings, or like fantasy football, but they already have. So let's say, for instance, they have Derek Carr, Michael Thomas, and Chris Olave, and then they'll have like a cutoff of like 70 yards, or for Derek Carr, it might be 250 passing yards. So then you click on that, you're like, okay, I like this cutoff number, and then once you have like your parlays of like 5 players, or you can do 2 players or 1 player, right? Obviously, the more players that you have, the parlay is going to increase. But let's say you do 3 players, you do Chris Olave, you do Michael Thomas, and you do Derek Carr. They all have a cutoff number, and then you can place an under or over in terms of if they're going to produce more yards or they're going to catch less.
Are you doing it based on one game or based on the whole week?
You can let me
Which one are you talking about?
Let me record something and then just kind of show you, and then I'll send it to you on private because I don't think I'm going to be able to do it. So for instance, so right now so I go to football, and then right now, let's say for instance, they have Isaiah Pacheco, and then they have him receiving yards, and the cutoff is 12.5. So let's say I click him, and then I can either scroll down to other players that they have. Let's say they do Calvin Ridley, receiver for the Jaguars, and they have a cutoff at 72.5 yards, right? So then once I do that, I go to finalize entry, and then this is when I go more or less. Do you think Isaiah Pacheco, like if I ask you, Drew, do you think Isaiah Pacheco, the running back for the Chiefs, is going to have more than 12.5 receiving yards or less in that game?
Oh, I'm not good at that.
Oh, but you know what I'm talking about, though?
Yeah. No, I like to do yeah, I know what you're talking about. That's super hard, bro. That's extremely That's extremely hard. I mean, it's just right now at least. You don't maybe middle of the season it'll be a little easier because you know who's gonna be good. Like who the hell knew DeAndre Swift was gonna go off for the Philadelphia Eagles, you know?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I knew that he could go had he been running back number 1. Like I drafted the motherfucker, and my cousin talked to me after. He goes, "Hey, why'd you draft DeAndre Swift? Why'd you draft Isaiah Pacheco?" And I was like, bro, if these guys are the running back number 1, they're gonna ball out. The reason why I dropped Swift this week is because I thought they weren't gonna get him into the lineup like after like week 5. Little did I know Kenneth Gainwell, fucking had a rib fracture, so he was out. So then DeAndre Swift got bumped to running back number 1, and I was like, fuck, if I'd known that, I would have not dropped him and picked up Rashawn Johnson from the Bears. So I knew, like I was telling my cousin before the season goes, I was like, bro, I know he's really talented. I know he's really good. Imagine that old line that the Eagles have. Once he starts, he's gonna be amazing. But I just made I had a fucking Joe Biden moment where I just fucked up.
Yeah, no, I had a Joe Biden moment. No, I'm just good at this, bro, because they like a Thursday night football. It's like you have all day to do your research, and it's like I kind of know the game a little bit.
Yeah.
And, I've been. I just do Thursday night and Monday night, and then Niners, and then whoever Niners are playing, because I'm more involved in what they're doing.
Yeah,
and I'm more knowledgeable. So I've been winning all of them, bro, and I'm guessing it's because I did my research on these teams, but if I keep winning, why would I want to change it up?
Yeah,
So
that's true.
Yeah, so I keep winning, so I'm not gonna stop. Can't stop, won't stop.
Yeah, I feel it, bro. All righty, Drew. Well, on that note, bro, I think we covered everything. Maybe depending if we get Mercito Hesta pulling up an upset, dog. Maybe we'll talk about it later on. But do you think he's a live dog versus William Zepeda or no?
Yeah, because he's got a chin. He's there, but he's also there to get hit. Dude, I keep thinking this guy is Sean Cepeda, but he's not. It's William Cepeda. So I've seen the other Cepeda fight a little bit more. So I might be wrong when I'm saying this, but I feel like Cepeda, I feel like he's doesn't have as much girth as other Cepeda, but I feel like he's there to get hit. He's relentless. I seen some highlights. He's like fucking relentless. But I think with Guesta's style, he's trying to emulate Pacquiao style a lot, so he's trying to hop around a lot and be hard to time. But yeah, Zepeda doesn't really have that style to like time you up. He's just kind of is he's more of a brawler. I've seen a couple of highlights. He looks like a brawler. Is that correct, or does he fight differently?
Yeah, well, honestly, he looks for the knockout, right? But against Jojo Diaz, bro, he must have. I mean, he threw 1,500 punches for the whole 12 rounds, 100 punches every single round. He decided to box from the outside and use his range. So he didn't want to go
1,500.
through. So I also seen this one fight where he was like stunningly knocked down, and like in the first round or two, I don't know if he was just barely, like waking up the cobs, or I don't know exactly what happened, but he got dropped. I don't know, bro. It was against a guy he was like plus 1,600 favor on. He just got dropped. Like, how Raymond Murataya, he fought some dude before Jeremiah Nakatalia, and that guy dropped him in the first round too. Well, yeah. It was kind of like the similar situation. Where it's like, oh, bro, you just got like dropped. Like, wake the fuck up. You know what I mean? You're in a fucking fight. So that was just kind of one of those things. But then since then, like, Zepeda just looking like a dog, bro. But if he is that good, and if Golden Boy Promotions thinks he's that dominant, then I'm like, why are you kind of hesitant to fight, the likes of Shakur and all these fighters that have called your name and are interested in fighting you? You know what I mean? But no disrespect, but he shouldn't be fighting Hesta, in my opinion, because Hesta is not like a top 10 fighter. Maybe a top 25, maybe top 30 type of thing. But I'm like, bro, you should be fighting like Edwin de los Santos. You should be fighting, Ryan Valenzuela, right? Rayo. He should be fighting Chris Colbert, like top 15 type of guys. You're not supposed to be fighting Mesito Hestas, guys that are 40 years old, pulling last-minute upsets. I don't know. That's just the way I look at it. Especially with his resume, bro. He's got like 28 wins by like 25 KOs. So I'm just kind of like, I don't know. We might get like a Zurdo Ramirez situation where when he finally steps up in class, then you realize, oh, there's a reason why they're pampering his record,
Yeah, that's what it looks like for Cameron. So I don't know. I just see his style. It's really like a brawling style. He likes to, get the knockout, like you said. I just feel like it can only take you so far, especially in the 135 division. There's so many ways dudes can put you out in the 135 division, acting or fighting that way. And both, Cameron, I feel like he can be put to sleep. I feel like Gesta can out, but I'm going for
Wow, that's crazy. Let me ask you something, because I think it sounds like you're a little more familiar with.
I gotta go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
It sounds like you're more familiar with Chon Zepeda. Do you think Zepeda has a good chance of beating Richardson Hitchens or nah?
Yeah, I think Hitchens can beat him. I think he's
No. Do you think Zepeda can beat Hitchinson?
Oh, yeah. I think both ways. I think he can beat him too. So I think Zepeda is really like grounded on his footwear. I think I already said that. He's really grounded on his feet when he's landing a punch. And I feel like Hitchens likes to do this movement where he doesn't feel like he needs defense, and I feel like that's where he lacks. Sometimes he feels like he can move around without having his hands up, and I feel like someone like Zepeda can come with a different type of rhythm and just catch him with the hook.
Let me ask you something, because you guys send me on the Instagram post or chat. I don't know if it was you or Speed that sent out some guy, right? I guess he's in Terrence Crawford's. He's one of his homies or a fellow boxer that he goes by the name Bernie the Boxer. And I guess they asked him a question that Canelo said that Bud only has one good fighter. So this guy responds with, well, Canelo is only one great fighter that he has on his resume is Triple G, right? Do you feel that's the only great fighter that Canelo has a victory over?
No, of course not.
No.
Well, then name me his name. The list that you like. Oh, that was it right there.
Cotto, the Hall of Famer.
Mayweather,
the Hall of Famer.
Austin Trout, Eruslandi Lara,
the Hall of Famer. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I don't know if they're Hall of Famer.
He's not.
Yeah, well, but I mean, does Crawford have anybody like them at all?
Mm-hmm.
I know we're trying to inquire about whether Canelo has mostly, yes, mostly. He's a
Yeah.
Hall of Famer.
Yep.
He
Mosley.
Yes, mostly. He also has, and without a doubt, Triple G. Um, but he has it's not that you just have to beat Hall of Famers, because in that case, then guess what? Spencer's not a Hall of Famer, and in fact, he won't be. So, what does Crawford have? I mean, what's his name? That Cuban, Yordenis Ugas. I mean, what's his name? Who's that? Who's the guy? That little guy, 130, the guy with the broken leg that Tank couldn't beat up. The Cuban.
Garcia. Hector Garcia.
No, the Cuban. Um,
Hector. Hector.
Yuriorkis Gamboa. Is he a
Uh-huh.
great Hall of Famer? No, I don't think. Terrence Crawford has any Hall of Famers under his name. So, if we're gonna go that route, then Canelo is definitely has way more fighters, because the names that he's fought in are likely closer to being Hall of Famers than any of the fighters that Terrence Crawford has ever faced. Yeah, he's got fighters that are great and fighters that should be considered for the Hall of Fame. But he has way more, way more. In fact, Canelo has the best resume in boxing at the current moment.
Yep. Hey, Rick, don't respect me like that.
You're right.
Don't disrespect myself.
Yeah, don't disrespect
I'm
myself.
gonna say this because a lot of people like to shit on Bud Crawford and say that he never fought nobody.
You just shit
And
on Canelo.
but let me listen. You guys mentioned Miguel Cotto, right? And Miguel Cotto, when Nello fought him, okay, he was supposed to fight him at 154, but Austin Trout pulled the upset, right? And so Canelo went on to fight the next best man, which was Austin Trout, right? In fact, he had been wanting to fight the bigger names, but they kept losing. If you guys remember, there was rumors that Victor Ortiz was supposed to fight Canelo, but then Josecito, boom, broke that fucker's jaw. So then what does Canelo do? He fights Josecito Lopez on the same night that Maravilla fights Chavez Jr. And they had an HBO Showtime, you know, little situation when they were like, oh, I got the next big star from Mexico. So they try to do this overlapping of audiences and a crossover situation. So then he goes up and he wants to fight Miguel Cotto, right? It'd be a big fight, Puerto Rico versus Mexico. But Austin Trout pulls the upset against Cotto, right? And Trout dominates Cotto, bro. Like 8 rounds to 4, 9-3. Like it was kind of like how Bivol dominated Canelo. You just noticed that, damn, bro. Cotto is a little out of his element. And then Trout was very good, very durable, and Cotto is very small at these weight classes. Mind you, when Canelo fought Cotto, he did fight Cotto coming off a very great moment of beating Maravilla. But again, Maravilla had knee surgery, right? He tore his ACL against Martin Murray in the reigning Knights of Argentina. He didn't win that fight, by the way. In fact, he got dropped like 2-3 times by Martin Murray, and they robbed the Englishman, from Scotland. And nah, man. But and then he went on to have surgery. He still retained his WBC belt, and he was like over a year when he finally fought Cotto, like a year after. And Cotto, what does he do? He carries Maravilla for like 11 rounds, drops him 4 times, 3 times in the first round, and it wasn't very competitive. So then Canelo goes on to fight Cotto, right? But I got that context matters. So when you guys mention Cotto being a great name for Canelo, it is a popular name, but it really wasn't a great name, right? Like it wasn't like when Pacquiao fought Cotto or Floyd fought Cotto. You know what I'm saying? This was soon years after. I think Cotto might have been 36 years old when he fought him. So yes, it is a good name because as you saw, Cotto is still experienced enough and very good with Freddie Roach that he still went 12 competitive rounds with Canelo and actually outlanded Canelo in the whole fight. It's just he just threw nothing but jabs, and then Canelo landed nothing but amazing power shots. So yes and no, right? So
Well,
I
it's like
I
this.
can't really put that Cotto name on that, but you could give him like Danny Jacobs. You could give Triple G. You could put Erislandy Lara and Austin Trout. You could put Callum Smith, Billy Joe Saunders, and Caleb Plant for very good wins on
BJ
Canelo's
Sanders.
resume. You can give him BJ Sanders, even though BJ Sanders is a fucking drug cheat and putting nasal spray up his butt, and he didn't fight Demetrius Andre, but you're still looking at an undefeated fighter, a two-time, division champion at 160 and 168.
Olympian.
But a guy, if you look at his resume, his best wins are basically against like Nick Blackwell and Chris Eubank Jr., right? Billy Joe Saunders. So it's not like, oh my God, he's beating, this is Billy Joe Saunders, this is Josh Taylor. Like, not even close, in terms of resume. So, but those names you can give it. But in terms of a great name, all those fighters that I named aren't very great names, because Erislandy Lara is a very great boxer, but he's not a great name because he doesn't really accomplish much, right? Same thing with Austin Trout. It's a very good win for Canelo, but is Austin Trout, like to you guys' point, a Hall of Famer? Absolutely not. So I'm not trying to diminish anything, but if we're talking about great names that Canelo has beaten, it is essentially Triple G. Where conversely with Bud Crawford, like Speed says, and I agree, Spence is not a great name because Spence is not a Hall of Famer, but he does have Gamboa, and probably Gamboa will be one, because a lot of people forget Gamboa was a fucking beast at those lower weights from like 126, 130, and when he fought Bud Crawford, 135. So you're looking at a 3-time divisional champion, if I'm not mistaken, and he was beating a lot of fighters. And then other good, credible wins for Bud is Victor Posto and Felix Diaz. But again, those aren't Hall of Famers. So really, it's in terms of it's very comparable. It's similar. Yo, what's going on, Vince? Is there gonna be a live later on tonight? And good afternoon, gentlemen. I don't really like doing lives during boxing, simply because I don't want to talk and overlap like the emotion of a live event with a live conversation. I just feel like I like to like marinate things and see the next day over and then speak upon it, just so I can soak in what exactly happened. I don't like to do like voice boxing commentary because I feel like if I'm focusing on, some speeches or, blow for blow analysis, I'm not really processing or really enjoying as a fan. And that's what I like to be a fan first and foremost while I'm watching boxing. So I don't know. It could be, but I don't think so. I know Speed has had some sentiment of wanting to do certain like blow for blow analysis during the fight, but or like commentary, but I like to do it after, like a day or two after. But it's maybe in the future, but we'll see.
Yeah. So, look, in the same vein of thinking, right? Um, had had Terence Crawford ever fought somebody like Pacquiao after having lost to after having beaten Keith Thurman? We would say that he beat a Hall of Famer, and everybody would be giving Terence Crawford the credit. And that's the same thing that's the same kind of credit that we should give Canelo Saul Santos Alvarez Barragan for having beaten Cotto when he fought him. You see, so yeah, no, it's
No, absolutely. That's a very good point. When Canelo fights these guys, they're at their best moment or like a bounce back situation. But same thing could be said about Bud Crawford. Like for instance, yeah, he doesn't have a Pacquiao on his name or on his resume, but he beat the guy who beat Pacquiao, Jeff Horn. And whether it was like, let's say it was a robbery and Jeff Horn headbutted and elbowed and did like a DDT suplex takedown on Pacquiao, and then he tackled him and all these like rough house tactics. I agree. But the point is, it's like you're not even supposed, like Jeff Horn is a nobody. He wasn't supposed to go distance with Pacquiao, right? Kind of like Teofimo versus Kambosos or Salido versus Lomachenko. These guys were supposed to, especially coming off the previous victories, like, dude, these are the dominance of boxing, the pillars of boxing. Teofimo, they're not even supposed to compete. And little did you know, it's like, that's a really good win for Bud Crawford, even Mean Machine, as we saw Mean Machine drop Bud Crawford, and Mean Machine also dropped Virgil Ortiz. But again, people are not going to be like, well, that's not a great fight. Like, they're not going to give Canelo credit for Callum Smith or, Trout or Erislandy Lara. So it's like we're picking certain, like, what the word great means. But just because all those fighters that we just named aren't great doesn't mean we should diminish and get and not give them credit for. So again, it's kind of like we're picking and choosing certain things, but the reality is, bro, it's like this whole tirade and back and forth little, I don't know what do you want to call it, riff raff or between Bud fans or Bud camp and Canelo's camp. I just feel like, look, bro, if you guys feel this type of way, right, and clear out the air, fight one another. Canelo, if Bud's calling out your name and he's a 2-time undisputed, right, and a lot of people think he's better than you and then he'll go beat you, then go knock him out and shut him up. You've
Here's
done
the
it before
thing.
against Amir Khan. You've done it
Here's the
before
thing.
against Chavez Jr. All of a sudden you want to fight this black fighter? Nah, bro, go knock his ass out.
Here's a question for you, just to keep it simple. Uh, if you had to decide who gets inaugurated to 2024's the Hall of Fame in Casanova, New York, Canelo or Crawford, who do you think is gonna make it?
Whoa. So is it only one person or three
No. If
people?
you had to, no, because there's like about 3 or 4 every year. I forget. I remember I did this research, but it's not a lot of people that make it in. I think there's like there's 3 classes. There's between entertainers, and then there's news broadcast personalities, and then there's boxers, right?
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
so there's about 3 boxers. So in average, there's like
So
around 9 people.
I would put Usyk, Canelo, or Canelo, Usyk, and Bud Crawford.
No, we're
No
just
particular
discussing
order,
these
but
guys.
those are the 3 boxers. I don't have
Yeah,
to
but
exclude one
if
or the other. Like, no way,
no,
these
you
guys are
had
gonna
to,
make it the same year.
because if you had to pick one guy, if you had to pick one guy and another guy would never make it in.
Well, I mean, come on, bro. Like one guy has like 24 more fights, so I'm gonna easily say Canelo Alvarez, bro.
There you go. There you go. No
You know,
questions
but
about
but
it.
that doesn't mean that's just body of work. We know Canelo is popular and he has the better body of work, the better popular names, the more competent names. But that doesn't mean that Bud can't beat Canelo. Don't
That's
get
not
it
what I'm saying
twisted.
either. We already know
Okay,
Canelo.
because you're
We
trying to
already
make the
know
point where
Canelo
like,
can be
oh,
beat.
Canelo's greater, so that's why he's a Hall of Famer, and Bud isn't. I'm just kind of
It,
like,
it,
I don't
but
know,
it's
man.
like this. It's like this. If the reason, look, if you had Crawford moving like Canelo, moving up to his 5th weight class and fighting everybody at every single weight class for many more times, from notable names, future Hall of Famers, undefeated fighters, how many times do you think Crawford might lose if he fought Fundora, Tim Sue, Tony Harrison, Virgil Ortiz, Boots Ennis, Crawley, if he fought Jamal Charlo, Triple G, Eubank, if he fought Callum Smith, if he fought
Well,
if he
no, so
fought
so hold on, so
Bivol,
hold
how
on.
many
So
times do you think he'd lose?
you have to
How
look at
many
it.
fights?
You have to look at it like this, okay? More than likely, Bud's going to move up to his 4th weight class at 154. So you'll get your answer soon there. But you got to look at it like this: when Canelo, you're comparing Canelo moving up like 6 weight classes when Bud's only done to 3. So
Yeah,
it's
that's
not
what
a
I'm
fair.
saying.
It's not a. Well, hold on. It's not a fair comparison. So for instance, when Canelo moved up to his 3rd weight class, who was he fighting in his 3rd weight class versus who was Bud fighting in his 3rd weight class? You can compare it like that. So, for instance, Canelo started at 147. His 2nd weight class would be 154, and then his 3rd weight class would be 160. So then your question would be like, how would you know? How would Bud Crawford do against Danny Jacobs and Triple G, and then maybe Avni Yildirim? I'm not too sure who else Canelo fought at 160. The
Abney
name
Yildirim is the same thing as
Miguel
David
or
Aveniki.
Miguel Cotto. So for instance, I would favor Bud Crawford to beat up Miguel Cotto, right? I would favor Triple G to knock out Bud Crawford. But we just saw that like Kell Brook can land hands on Triple G, so would Bud Crawford. But yeah, Triple G would knock out Crawford. And then I would favor, Bud Crawford to beat Danny Jacobs.
Yeah, but I
Like
guess
if
what I'm trying to
everything's
tell you
being
though,
relative and he was a 160 pounder, you know what I mean?
what I'm trying to get at though, homie Ricky, is that when you have that many fights, more than the next guy, that's more chances of you losing. When you move,
True.
when you move into weight higher divisions from where you started, that's just a recipe for disaster.
Okay, so
Because
let me
you're
put it to you
definitely
like this.
facing harder punching men when you're the naturally smaller fighter. That's just exactly what happens. So what I'm trying to propose with you,
Okay, so let me put it to you
Wait up,
like
wait up,
this.
wait up, wait up. The fights that Terrence Crawford has most recently taken on, right? Which, if you give me maybe his four best names, right? Uh, and we compare it to Canelo's first four good names, I would assure you that the four good names that Canelo Crawford has are way better than the four good names that Terry Crawford has. And
Well,
then
let me give it to
Canelo
you. Let me give
continues
it
to
to you
do
like
it for
this.
20 more fights atop of that. What I'm
So
saying
let's
is
put it to you
he's
like
gonna
this.
lose.
Canelo's four best names is Triple G, right? In terms of who he's beat and who he's won, by
No,
the
his
way.
first his
No,
first
no,
few
no,
good
no.
ones.
Listen to me. Not who he just fought like Floyd Mayweather, who he lost to in Bivol. No, just the ones he's beaten. Okay, like, and I'm gonna name clear, decisive wins. So I'm not gonna include Erislandy Lara because that's a question mark. All right, the four decisive names that you can't like rebuttal. Okay, that Canelo's beaten. Right, Triple G 2. And I can't even give you that one, bro, because that could have been a draw. But whatever's. That wasn't decisive, by the way. But let's just say Triple G 2 in the rematch. So he's got Triple G one time, right? Because he also lost the first fight. Okay, anyway. Triple G, Miguel Cotto, Caleb Plant, right? And then who would be his fourth name? Austin Trout. All right, those are Canelo's decisive best wins, given the context of they were undefeated, they were a champion, the situation, right? Caleb Plant was an undisputed champion, right? Cotto was Canelo's middleweight champion. Triple G, obviously a unified champion, all that nature, undefeated pound for pound fighter, whatever. So those are Canelo's best four. Crawford's best four, and I'm not even going to include in Julius Ndongo where he became undisputed because Ndongo ain't shit. He was just a one-hitter quitter that he landed on Edward Troyanovsky because he wasn't able to replicate results after. The four best ones for Crawford would be Gamboa, it would be Spence, it would be Victor Postal, and then the fourth one depends on what you like more. It could be Felix Diaz or Mean Machine. I'm gonna go Mean Machine because at least Mean Machine was able to put Bud down and he was able to put Virgil Ortiz down, and both of them were nulled and not counted as knockdowns. Okay, so there's that. So now based off those four names, it's kind of close, bro. It's kind of close, right? Now, let me go to a different point. Let's talk about their undisputed run. Who had a better undisputed run in their respective weight class? Do you like Canelo's undisputed run at 168, beating the likes of Callum Smith, Billy Joe Saunders, Rocky Fielding, Avni Yildirim, Caleb Plant, right? Those five fights. Or do you like Bud Crawford's run at 147, even though he's been undisputed twice? But let's just go with 147 because he did knock out Sean Porter, who no one had ever done before. He also knocked out an undefeated, Mean Machine, undefeated Jeff Horn coming out of Pacquiao's victory. Errol Spence coming out at being top dog. Who do you like more? Whose run do you like more?
Well, I like Canelo Alvarez's
Why?
because he beat three out of four undefeated champions at a way bigger weight class, and these guys were prime. We never had, well, except with the exception of BJ Saunders, who we know that, well, we suspect that he's some kind of a
So
dedicated.
Bud has the same similarities. You see, so these questions aren't very simple because anywhere you slice it and dice it, I can be like, well, wasn't Billy Joe a cheater, right? And
Look,
who did Billy Joe
well,
beat? Like, if I
even
ask you the
well, then
question,
guess what? If
if
he's
I
a
tell you,
cheater, then
check
he's
this
a
out.
cheater. Then that just makes him even a harder competitor.
No,
It's
no,
not
but
he
I'm gonna
has
tell
some
you this.
advantage.
I'm gonna ask you this: who did Billy Joe defeat to become a champion at 168? What was his name?
Um, uh, what's in that Korobov, right? It was
See, we don't know. But if I give you
I
the
do.
list, all right, who was it, Drew?
Frotch.
Shit. Yeah, right. Fuck no. But you see, you don't really know. And if I probably give you guys a name, I'm not even. I don't even know who Billy Joe beat either. It was probably a
but
vacant
look,
belt
but
Oh,
against
yeah, yeah, okay.
Artur Akarov.
but
Yeah.
wouldn't we say that those fighters got their belts convincingly? Like, for example, when Plant beat what's his
Jose
name?
Uzbatagi.
Not who?
Jose Uzcategui.
Yeah, Jose Uzcategui. Uzcategui. He destroyed that guy. And I remember Uzcategui. He outclassed him.
Yeah.
And I think he may have even dropped him. No.
Yeah,
Um,
he dropped him twice.
yeah. I was going to say dropped him twice. Uzcategui was a rampager. He was a big bad boy. Nobody else was able to do what Plant did to him. He got that
Well,
belt
yes and
fair
no.
and square.
Uzcategui had already 1 or 2 losses before Caleb Plant. So
Yeah, but he was still when he was a champion and he was defending, he was good.
yeah,
What
he
I'm
was
saying
very
is
good.
we
That's a
don't
very
discredit
good win.
fighters.
That's why I named Caleb Plant as the second or the third best fighter on Canelo's resume because dude, that
Yeah,
was a very credible fucking win. And you
yeah.
showed
And
and you
then
saw the
we have
skills of Caleb.
and then we have to compare it to uh the Australian Jeff Horn, who
Dude,
as
Jeff
you just
Horn beat a
mentioned, Jeff
legend
Horn.
in Pacquiao. He was like a fucking 20-1 underdog. He's a school teacher. And even the fact that whether you want to say that it was a robbery or a close fight, well, it shouldn't be a close fight. He's fucking fighting an 8-time divisional champion. So you can't bro, I'm telling you, when you
But he
actually
was a
just do
fresh
the
fighter.
calculations, everything's the
But he was
calculations.
he was a
Correct.
fresh undefeated fighter. That's what I'm
So
trying
was
to
Jeff
tell you.
Hornsky, bro.
No. That's what I'm saying. Jeff Horn was a fresh undefeated fighter.
Listen,
You see
all
what I'm
I'm
saying?
saying is
And
this. We can go back and forth.
he did not dominate Pacquiao. He just got he got the name in his hand raised, but he didn't dominate Pacquiao under no sense of the word. Was that a dominating
No, I
performance?
agree. I agree. But all I'm
Billy
going to
Joe
say is this.
Saunders, even though I didn't
Because
watch
these
that fight,
fighters
I'm
are
sure
so
he
great.
dominated his opponent.
Check this
I'm
out.
sure
No,
he
I agree.
dominated his opponent.
I
And
agree.
he's the
But because
only
these no,
fighter.
hold on, hold on. You're saying the same thing over 10 times. I'm just trying to end this and make it simple. Look, because we feel a certain
You're
way, the
wrong.
fans feel a certain way, these guys just have to fight. After Canelo beats Jermell
No,
Charlo,
they don't have to fight.
right? Then they should fight Bud Crawford because
Nope,
it's the
nope.
same. No, it
No, it
should, bro.
shouldn't. No,
It
it
should.
shouldn't. No, it shouldn't.
According
No, it
to you,
shouldn't.
but I
Jamel Charlo
guarantee you
should.
that fight's gonna do a million pay-per-view
Yeah,
buys,
I don't
and
care about
you
the
are now
money.
responsible
I
for
don't care
60
about the
million
money.
and these
I
guys'
don't care.
pockets.
I don't care about the money. I don't get easily manipulated and impressed
You're
by
not making
whatever
$60
promotion
million,
they're giving me.
sir. They are.
It doesn't. It doesn't. Look, bro. I already described to you. You thinking that these fighters are gonna happen is a fantasy. I already gave you the
Or
timeline.
so you think.
I already gave.
Let me ask you this. You
Hold
think
on, what did
Canelo would rather fight
didn't we
David
bet $100 on
Benavidez?
this? Didn't
Listen
we
to
bet
me.
$100 on this?
No, I forgot what exactly we bet. But let me ask you this. Do you think that Canelo would rather fight David Benavidez over Bud Crawford?
Yes.
Fuck no, you're tripping, bro. He don't want to fight David. What the fuck does David bring to the table? Look, I'm gonna answer Vince's question because he says in the chat, I'm sure you guys already covered the fights from yesterday. So yeah, just a little recap. Yeah, we did cover the fights like 3-4 times throughout the whole 2 hours.
Like 10
And there
times.
really isn't much to say, man. I thought Venado, held his throne really well. Joet was a good competitor, but he didn't learn from the Navarrete fight, and Venado has been getting better, and he fixed the mistakes that we kind of went over on the film review the other night versus Josh Taylor. He started fixing them, and he's being much more disciplined, and he starts to rolling with the punches now. And this is a very complete, dangerous Venado. And Joet Gonzalez, what I mean by he didn't learn from the Navarrete fight is he just put on a high guard, kept walking forward, and tried to block 10, 20 punches while 6 punches might land in between. And it's just like, bro, you got to just take a back step, half step, or a pivot to the side. You can't just block all those punches because 4 of them are going to land. So while you do block 6 or 7 of them, those 3 or 4 punches that do land, it's still 30-40% of Venado shots landing on you.
Yeah.
And if you just get out of range by a backstep, you ain't going to get hit by all the barrage of 10 flurries. But yeah, the decision, I'm going to say this. Venado does a great job of stealing rounds because overall, Joet would fight the 3 minutes, but when Venado would let his hands go, right, and put 10 punches together, it looks beautiful. It's kind of like
Yeah.
what David Benavidez would do to Porky Medina. When you got that fast-ass hands, and throwing these fucking Street Fighter combinations, pressing that A and X button. You're just like, well, fuck, dude, how am I gonna give it to Joet Gonzalez? So yeah, I thought the decision was a little wide. I think one judge had it like 117, 111. The next one had it like 116, 112, and then the other one had it like 7-5. So one judge had it 7-5, the other 8-4, the other 9-3. I thought that was pretty wide. But to be fair, Lopez did win the fight, and yeah, man.
I think
I had money on Joet Gonzalez, but like I said, I like how Lopez fought, and I like how he kept his belt as a champion. So I don't think Joet did enough to take that belt away from him. So
Yeah, I think I feel like we're talking about like Ruben a lot. I know I'm the one that brought it up, but like I felt like we're talking about Ruben a lot, but I just realized like how connected Ruben is to Venado now. You know, like
yeah.
he's really like we're this is Venado is like the main subject, but it's easy to talk about Ruben when he's actually lost to him, you know. So I like what they're doing, the promoting, because they I'm curious to see what other channels or other podcasts, what they're talking about. I wonder if Ruben Villa is in their mouth, you know, if his name is in their mouth, you know.
Well, Ruben Villa the fourth did call out Lopez Venado, which we did address.
It wasn't that crazy though. It was
Yeah,
more
it
like
wasn't.
yeah, it was like he didn't really say I want you next. Like we didn't get to see that, you know, because their interviews happen kind of off air. So like we need to like go and search for that. But
Yeah.
all really what he was doing was, you know, just got his cap and said Venado, you know, that's really all he was saying, which isn't really much of a call out, but they didn't really give him the platform to do that.
Yeah,
You know?
they didn't give him the platform. I agree, and I actually had to search deep, and I just know that he said he called out, but there was no actual direct quote. So it's pretty it's hard for me to really say that he called him out in earnest. Because both when you were absent a couple of days ago, Drew, both the homie Ricky and I did address how it would look uh, very strange on the part of Ruben Villa to call out a fighter he's already beaten before, because that would not it wouldn't look as brave as it could. But then again, the only way he could get a belt is to calling that guy out. So we were, I was just more divided on whether or not Lopez should call out uh, Ruben Villa the fourth for a rematch to defend. But like the homie Ricky said, he doesn't know whether or not Ruben Villa is in the position to really call out for that fight at this moment, because there's probably a lot of other contenders that can, more justly request they have a shot at the champion. And
let
again,
me ask you guys a question. Hold on,
Lopez
Speed,
would be it
because
would be strange for Lopez to call out anybody because Lopez is a champion. Champions don't call out anybody.
yeah, that's true. Let's go back to a comment that Vince said. Yeah,
Yeah.
what about Ruben? Oh, first he goes, I wasn't too impressed on Lopez's performance, maybe his weird style of fighting. Yeah, it's very unorthodox. It's his own style of boxing. It's mixed with athleticism, street fighting, and then boxing. So
Yeah.
I mean, the dude's just a fighter, bro. That's basically the way I can put it.
Well, can I crunch it into other terms?
Hold on. What? Oh, go for it.
Yeah, I just want to crunch Juan Alberto Lopez El Venado as in his fighting style. It's like this, Mr. Vince Vargas. He is the Mexican Roy Jones Jr. If you can imagine Roy Jones for who he was, how he used to fight, how he would just be very creative and defer to his athleticism over his technical mastery, then you can start to appreciate somebody like Lopez Venal. Yeah, it's not pretty, but it is very effective. And
And then he
we
also
did discuss
goes,
it. He's getting better.
did he impress you? Did Ruben impress you guys? Because we were talking about a knockout or a dominating performance. So I'll go first on that one.
Yeah.
Honestly, I really wasn't too impressed by Ruben. And the reason was obviously Brandon Valdez has some skill to him. You know, he's strong. He can take a couple of punches, but I wanted Ruben to stay more in the pocket. And I wanted Ruben, while you are in the pocket and pressing this guy backward, I want you to be more defensive savvy and catch and shoot, kind of like Canelo does as when he's stalking down these much bigger men. I felt Ruben wouldn't he would retreat a little too much for my liking and still get caught with some uppercuts and left hooks from the Colombian fighter. I feel like those same punches are the same ones that Navarrete would land on Ruben, and I wanted to see Ruben, perfect that because Ruben fights out of the shoulder roll as a southpaw, and his lead hand is protecting his body, so that right side of his face is exposed, right? And he gets caught with those punches. You started seeing the swelling and almost a little bit of the closing of the eye on Ruben. And so now imagine a champion. Sure, Brandon Valdez is a tough opponent, but now imagine a tough champion like Venado, like Robecy Ramirez, like Navarrete all over again, or like a Brandon Figueroa from Texas. Imagine those guys throwing hella punches, not just one or two punches like Brandon Valdez was throwing. Imagine 10 punch combinations, 7 or 5. It's gonna be very tough for Ruben. But Ruben did do his thing. He won the fight. But yeah, man, I wanted a knockout. Yeah, his opponent was tough. I think Ruben didn't want to get caught with a good punch to buzz him. Yeah, no, he landed this one beautiful punch. I think it might have been in the 6th or the 7th round. It was a 1-2, and then the two, turned the dude's whole head. I wanted to see Ruben did stun him, but I wanted to see more of a killer, to pursue and tackle that gazelle. But yeah, Ruben is always a boxer first, right? If you look at his resume or you look at his knockout streak, he has like 22 wins for like 6 KOs or 7 KOs. So he's always thinking, defensive minded first before his, arsenal of attack. But yeah, man,
I I uh
I would give
I
him
know
like a
that
B
you
minus C plus.
yeah. Mm, so I would give him. I wouldn't say that I was so overly impressed. But I was definitely impressed. I don't think his performance yesterday was a game changer, is what I'm trying to say. But I do believe his performance allowed him to stand out as a contender. I think people were able to see the reason why he was able to beat the champion El Venado at some point in his career. And I was more impressed on Ruben Villa's ability to stay in the pocket and become so aggressive and come forward and so and such a thrower of combinations. His punch selection was good. I do believe he had some issues with his stance and his defense, which subjected him to a couple, just a couple, but not many more than that, uppercuts by his opponent. Who, yes, he was scrappy, he was durable, he was tough, and he was doing the right things. But mostly, I never saw him really get caught flush with the southpaw killer, which is the right hand from an orthodox fighter. Um, I think that Ruben Villa started off well. I think his opponent was doing good in the beginning, in the first half of the fight. But then from there, I just started to see Ruben Villa employ more movement, more angling, more creative punch selections, and more daring do. So that when he started to throw with more conviction, we started to see the effects as an opponent. Now, his endurance kept up and he never once slowed down whereby his opponent did, and that was because Ruben was also attacking to the body. He could have done more, but he was just overwhelming his opponent with more output. So I was impressed, but I don't think it was a game changer. I think if he had gone on to knock out his opponent, it would have definitely fared well for his career. But yes, we were talking about whether it was necessary to get a knockout or a dominating performance. A dominating performance would just allow him to be validated by the casual boxing fans. A knockout would have made him a star. Um, and I think Top Rank would have definitely gone with that performance with a knockout and said, you know what, you're ready. Now, I don't know if he's ready for Lopez, but I think he's ready for the next guy in line after that or before that, because that fight really needs to be built up. And I'm not too sure if that fight would have allowed Ruben Villa to put his end on a build up fight with Elvin now. Yeah, I really liked a lot of what I saw in Ruben. I really did. So I'm glad that the young man from Salinas is doing good. And of course, you know this, Mr. Vargas, what an absolutely incredible performance from Emiliano Vargas. My goodness, that boy is a threat. That boy did so many astute and experienced things out there. I know it was a very short fight, but in that short time frame, man, he did a lot of good stuff in there. Lot of good stuff in there. Um,
Yeah,
and
he's
of
looking
course,
really good, bro. He's looking like the Xander Zayas of
of,
California.
yeah, it's incredible. And actually, some people said that Sanders Sayas was looking a lot like Tito Trinidad, and I was like, well, you know what? That's not a very bad comparison. Tito Trinidad was very poised,
But
very very
did he have an amazing jab though? Because I know he's known for his hooks, especially
yeah.
his left hook.
Did he have a jab?
Because like Xander to
He
me
has to have
looks
a
like
jab.
he looks like Cotto. Because I don't remember Felix like Trinidad. He was a stalker, bro. At least the fights that I remember seeing, he wasn't a guy that moved a lot in terms of like Cotto. Cotto moves extremely well, like he did against Margarito, like he did against Canelo, like even like he did against Floyd. I saw more of Xander Zaya's nice jab. Cotto has a nice jab and a great left hook that those Puerto Ricans are always known for. That's what I kind of saw a bigger version of Miguel Cotto and Xander.
Yeah. Um, yeah, who knows? We really have to go back and watch Tito. It's been a very long time since I've watched any of his old fights. I know that I experienced him live, and throughout the years I've watched him. But you know, if you ask me whether or not he had a good jab, I'd have to say I really don't know, not at this moment. You know, but yeah, it's those some of Mr. Vargas's favorite up and comers. One of the Vargas dynasty members and Ruben Villa the fourth. They did, in my opinion, excellent and great. And I don't know if great is the word I would use for Ruben right now, but I was impressed in what he's doing, impressed on how he's looking. I know that he's been traveling back and forth between California and Nevada, going to Las Vegas and Top Rank Gym, their training camp, and he's been getting a lot of good work. I've heard those rumors. I've followed a couple of Instagram posts where he's been at. So yeah, it's showing that and yeah, if he didn't get the knockout, guys, it's also because his opponent, he was tough. Like he really was tough. And remember, homie Ricky, I had talked about how in his last 5 fights, he had lost 3 of them. Um, so we thought this guy was just gonna be a soft touch. So I don't know. What does that say about that?
No,
That
no.
Ruben
I mean,
struggled.
I knew he wasn't gonna be a soft touch because I was watching the fight versus Robeisy Ramirez, and kind of like how Drew said before he hopped out was it was a premature stoppage. Absolutely, Valdez did get hit with a good shot, and then Robeisy threw like a flurry of like 20, 30 punches, but it wasn't like Valdez's head was getting snapped back. It was just 30 unanswered shots. So the same ref that was refing last night, he just put a stop to the fight, which was a
Yeah,
little premature. But again, I know that I saw some good skill. I saw that he did bring it, but again, like I've talked to him and I mentioned like about an hour ago, is when it comes down to these Max Garcia boxers, right? He trains them to be defensively sounded and have good footwork. We saw it with Tino Avila when he fought Jojo Diaz, right? You already know this conversation because we had it about an hour ago. Max Garcia does not develop heavy punchers. Ruben Villa is not a heavy puncher. Like, bro, you gotta bench press. You have to do lunges and squats with weight. It might add a little muscle, bro, but you got to fucking learn how to like hit the heavy bag with heavy shots. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you gotta fill up, fucking bins of water, sand water and carry them just to develop heavier hands or, lay brick, but you gotta hit hard, bro. And that's the only thing that these Max Garcia fighters don't really do is that physical aspect of training. Not physical like training, like anybody can do 100 push-ups and be ripped. No, all of them always come in shape. I'm saying you need to know how to have heavy hands. And Max Garcia's downfall is they've never had a heavy-handed fighter. One of the ones that they might be heavy-handed, and it's because I've used to train with him and I heard how heavy he hits, is Jorge Maravillo. That might be the only one that, if he develops that footwork and that brain IQ, then he can do really well because he naturally does have heavy hands. And if you look at his box rec, even though he's essentially fighting nobody, he's 8-0 with 8 KOs. So that's a good standing. Now he just needs a lot of more experience because I think he only had like 17 amateur fights. But yeah, man, they just need to same thing with Gabriel Flores. If you look at Gabriel Flores, right, G Nation, you notice that he's got all the skill in terms of hand speed, in terms of footwork, but he don't really take a good punch, and he doesn't really have heavy hands as well. And that's the downfall of Ruben when they get into these title shot fights is you got to have a little bit of pop, more than just a little bit of pop, because they have that Lomachenko problem when you fight the guys of Teofimo Lopez. You wish you fucking had that Deontay Wilder, haymakers, because that's a fucking changing of the fight.
Yeah, and then with those type of Mexicans that just fought yesterday, you have to knock him out because,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, if you want to make sure that you win, you have to knock him out. Lopez, you're gonna have to knock him out because he always is gonna be in the fight. Like we were talking about in Mr. Vince. We were talking about how, and you watched this because I ended up, I hopped on the Top Rank YouTube channel, because it turned out that they were having a marathon, having displaying all of these fighters' past fights from Joet Gonzalez, which was amazing because it's basically the same thing that you and I were doing, Omi Ricky, which we ended up getting struck down for, which was basically watching footage on these fighters. Well, Top Rank ended up doing it yesterday, right? On the Independence Day for all of these Central American countries, but they showed Joet Gonzalez fighting the Pinoy Santissima. They had Venado like 3 fights. They had a couple of Sander Sayas, and Fernando Vargas fights. And I saw Mr. Vince Vargas hop in there. And what I really liked is that everybody was being very cordial and respectful. I saw him, so I know that he was catching up on some of the past fights from some of these fighters, which was awesome because we need to support these guys. But the one common thread that you'll see in any of those fighters, Mr. Vargas, is that those Mexican guys, man, like this is what I concluded yesterday. I was so excited about what I watched because every event, and in case you haven't seen this, Mr. Vargas, you really should go and watch the last night's fights at the Zone. There was a fight of the year contender between a gentleman called Angel Fierro, and he faced off against Brian Samarripa for the top fight of the night on the Zone yesterday. That was a fight of the year contender. The homie Ricky and I were likely gonna make a fight of the year contender uh, end of the year review. But that was, to my count, the fourth best fight of the year, or maybe up there, following Amanda Serrano and Neri versus Zukin, and Deremchenko versus Munguia. But and Amanda Serrano versus Erica Cruz. But this fight was incredible. Now
No, you
we just
already said that.
yeah.
I already said
Oh,
that the
sorry
four
about that.
fights that were
So
Sergey Darenchenko versus Jaime Munguia. There was Joe Cordina versus Rakimov, Luis
wow,
Neri
that's the
versus
one.
Assad, right?
Yeah,
And then yesterday's fight, Angel Fierro versus that Mexican dude.
yeah,
Those were the
yeah.
four amazing men fights. You don't compare it
Incredible.
to women. The women have their own category and their own reward. So that would probably most likely go to Amanda Serrano versus Erica Hernandez or Cruz all over
Erica
again.
Cruz. Yeah, which and by the way, Mr. Vargas, so anybody that's listening, really, Erica Cruz fought day of yesterday versus a New York a New Yorker transplanted to I think the area of Houston, Texas, by the name of Melissa Odessa. And she's, if I'm not mistaken, I think she went up in weight classes. Um, to fight the Mexican Erica Cruz and a banger. It was a very good fight, but under that is something in that fight earlier on in the fight. there was an Australian by the name of Sky Nicholson, a very beautiful pugilist. She fought an Argentinian. Now, we reported on how during the fight, the trainer and husband of Sabrina Perez, the Argentinian, had a heart attack during the fight, and the man passed away as soon as they escorted him from the stadium, and the fighter had to continue fighting. She didn't know what happened to her husband. We just know that something happened to him. He died at age 56, but she continued to fight on. And everybody was crying, and we didn't know what was going on. But it turned out that her husband and coach passed away during the fight that his wife was having. So she lost, and she lost her husband. So rest in peace to that gentleman. But if you want to, you should hop on. Anybody who's interested, hop on to the Zone's Matchroom Fights last night in Mexico. Took place in Tijuana for a Fight of the Year contender at the top fight. But nonetheless, yesterday's fights were so overwhelmingly good that the only thing you can conclude is that the sport of boxing needs Mexicans not only to survive but to thrive. We just witnessed the day of yesterday why this sport is healthy and alive, and it was all to basically men of Mexican American, Chicano, or Latino descent. So that's not a patriotic, nationalistic, proud kind of a thing that I'm saying. I just know that when I say this wholeheartedly, we owe these fighters from this nation so much, because without them, this sport is boring. Or what do you say, homie Ricky? Am I ranting? Am I going on a diatribe?
Nah, man. In fact, that's pretty much pretty. I mean, we covered everything that we really needed to cover, man. It's almost kind of. I'm trying to wrap it up, you know.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Well, go ahead. Not too sure if we'll go on a live. Maybe we will.
We won't.
Depends on.
Maybe we'll go tomorrow, but after the football games, but not today, bro. Not today, man. But on that note, guys, hopefully you guys have a great weekend, an amazing Saturday, and we'll see you guys on Sunday night. Speed, as always, thank you for hopping on, man, and shooting the shit. And I'll see you tomorrow, bro.
All right. Good night. I mean, good day.
Take care.